welcome back to the stream. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. We are back with some book reading. Hold on. I might as well play the music since we're here. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Hand cam is back. Hello. Hi Otto. Hope you're doing well. So we managed to read quite a few stories last time. But we still have, I guess, half of the book to go through. I think the ones in the latter half are cool. A bit longer than what we read before, but we shall see. I have my doggo to help me put this up. But yeah, here's the book again. Here it is. It's also been a bit humid and drizzly, so it's like kinda cozy actually. Oh hi Justy1, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in. This is part 2 of me reading Treasury of Fairy Tales by Annie-Claude Martin. Here's the book. And as a recap of what we read last time. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the bits, Tom. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, please have fun on the cruise. I hope you please take care and have a nice time. Thank you for the bits again. Thank you. Hold on, let me just adjust my model position a little bit. There we go. Because I adjusted it for last night's stream. But yeah, okay, so we read last time Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White and Rose Red, Hansel and Gretel, Little Match Girl, Puss in Boots, All's Well That Ends Well, Princess and the Pea, Beauty and the Beast, Emperor's New Clothes, Rumpelstiltskin, Florinda and Joringa, Cinderella, Reynard and the Fisherman, and Rapunzel. So what we've got next, I think we can finish the rest today. They might be a bit longer, but I believe we can do it. So yeah, if you guys are hungry, feel free to sit back, relax, and have some snacks. Or if you just wanna chill and listen, that's cool too. I don't know English, so I'll just listen to your pleasant voice, really. I really appreciate that. I hope you can enjoy. And please relax. That is what this stream is for. And yeah, let me read you guys. So our next story that we're gonna read today is Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, a tale from 1001 Nights. Hold on. So there we are. Hey, I wonder if that's the guy. But yeah. Oh, hi Mickey, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Ah, beauty, I know about that. But yes, it's hand time. Hand cam time. But yeah. I've got I figured out how to play the playlist. I just opened it on YouTube Music instead. It's so much more seamless that way. So I was playing it through YouTube, regular YouTube. So the music should be looping well today. Oh, also, I changed the background. I meant to use this last time. I forgot to use it because I was so distracted with setting things up. Alibaba, yes. This one, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. We're gonna see what it's like in this book. So, once upon a time, in a Persian city, there lived two brothers who loved each other very much and often visited each other. One was a merchant called Qasim, and the other was a woodcutter called Alibaba. One day, on his way to the forest with his 3 donkeys, Alibaba saw a cloud of dust in the distance. It was undoubtedly a large and possibly unfriendly group of horsemen, because very few people passed along this road since he was afraid of being robbed. Alibaba looked for a hiding place. Hi Jack, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. It is about the story of 1001 Nights. It's from... Well, this story is from a tale... It's a tale from 1001 Nights, so it's one of the stories that's in that. They need their own fairy tale story. That would be amazing. Imagine. Okay. Oh, art. There you go. So he hid in a tree, I guess. And those are the hooligans he saw. Pretty nice for studying. Oh, I hope it. Good luck with studying. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, no worries. No worries, Mickey. Not far away was a very high rock next to which stood a tall tree. Alibaba hid his donkeys, climbed into the tree, and waited. Where did he hide his donkeys, though? The cloud of dust quickly became bigger, and soon the group arrived. There were 40 men, each carrying a big bag on his shoulders. The men jumped down from their horses and tied them next to the rock. Then the leader approached the rock and cried, "Open sesame!" To Alibaba's astonishment, a door opened in the rock face. The men disappeared into the cave, and the door closed behind them. Alibaba stayed in his tree, not daring to climb down right away. While he was thinking what to do next, the door opened again. The men came out, and the leader commanded the doors, "Close, sesame!" It rumbled shut, and the men mounted their horses again and rode off. When they were far away, Alibaba climbed down from the tree, stood in front of the rock, and after hesitating for a time, he also cried, "Open sesame!" What's that blue thing? Oh, which blue thing? Do you mean this blue thing? This is an owl. That book's so pretty, though. Yeah, I really like the way things are illustrated. There's a lot of art in this book. Once again, the rock face opened and Alibaba... Oh! Full spread! It's low-key a spoiler, I guess, but I guess this is what he sees. Look at that! Look at all the gold and the coins! I'm at the desk. Oh, it's a crab? This one? He's a crab. Sometimes I have him hold my mouse wire. He's not holding it right now because my mouse is usually here, but I put it down to the side so that there's space for the book. This is like a childhood book of yours? Yeah, it actually is. So these are all of the, oh my gosh, fancy cloths as well. Okay. Walked into a most amazing cave. There was enough light to see inside to see a collection of fabulous treasures. Silk materials, rich fabrics, carpets, and above all, bags overflowing with gold and silver. It was obviously the secret hideout of a group of robbers. Obviously. After Alibaba had recovered from his astonishment, he gathered as much gold as his 3 donkeys could carry and closed the cave with the magic words. Excuse me. When he arrived home, he emptied his bags in front of his wife, who was dazzled by the gold. He then told her all about his adventure. "We are rich," she cried, dancing and clapping her hands. "But how much exactly do we have?" "Enough to live in peace for the rest of our days," answered Alibaba. "I want to be sure. We must count it," his wife demanded. Alibaba did not see any reason for this, but he did not want to upset his wife, so he let her have her way. She immediately went to Kasim to ask him for a measuring cup. Kasim's wife opened the door. "A measuring cup?" she asked, astonished. "Yes, the biggest one you have," replied Alibaba's wife. Kasim's wife lent her the cup, but she secretly stuck some candle wax on the bottom because she wanted to know what there was to measure at a poor woodcutter's house. Bruh, she's not gonna notice that something got stuck at the bottom? When Alibaba's wife returned home, she began to scoop up the gold with the cup. Is that the wax? Oh yeah. She filled it once, twice, many times. A little while later, she returned the cup to her sister-in-law, but in her hurry, she did not notice that there was a gold piece stuck to the bottom. When Kasim came home, his wife said, "Sit down here. I have something to tell you." "What is it?" asked Kasim. "Kasim, do you think you are rich?" she said. "Enough to be happy," he replied. "Well, Alibaba is 1,000 times richer than you are," said his wife. "He has so much gold at home that he needs a measuring cup to count it." And she showed him the gold piece. Kasim, who was a bit jealous, went to his brother's house and said, "Tell me, I beg you, how do you have so much gold at your house?" Alibaba realized his secret has been discovered, and because he loved his brother, he told him everything, including the magic words to open the door to the thieves' hideout. Kasim thanked him. Early the next morning, he set off with 10 mules to find the rock.
Open sesame, he cried when he reached it.
The door opened. He went inside and the door closed behind him. How are the guys not there? I guess the timing's good. Hi Kudo, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, it's Alibaba. For a moment he was astonished by all the glittering treasure. Then he pulled himself together and began to fill the bags. When they were full, he tried to leave the cave, but he couldn't remember the magical words. Uh-oh.
Open, ogre?
He tried. The door stayed closed. He tried again and again. No matter what words he said, he could not think of the right one. So hours later, he was still locked in. Bro couldn't think of sesame. As ill luck would have it, the thieves arrived at the cave. When they opened the magic door, Kasim took the chance to escape. He was caught immediately by the thieves, who killed him on the spot and cut him up into 4 pieces. That escalated quickly. The next day, Alibaba came to the rock in search of his brother. To his horror, he discovered his brother's remains. Weeping with shock and grief, he put the 4 pieces that were left of his brother on the donkeys and returned home to Kasim's widow to tell her the dreadful news. Jeez. That's pretty graphic, but I guess they didn't really show that in the artwork. Now, Kasim had a very clever servant whose name was Morgiane? 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 We will have to cover up the true reason for Kasim's death, said Alibaba. Don't worry, I know how to handle that, she replied. The next day, the servant went several times to the chemist, pretending that her master had fallen ill. Each time she asked for stronger and stronger medicines, saying that he was going from bad to worse. The following day, no one was surprised, therefore, to hear that Kasim had died. Bruh. Why'd they cover it up? Well, I guess because they didn't want anyone to find out about the place. Although in the city lived a very old, wise garment maker called Baba Mustafa. Morgiana asked him to come to her in secret, bringing the tools of his trade. Baba Mustafa, who was suspicious, did not agree to do so unless he was given a large sum of money. He was then blindfolded and led into Kasim's room. There, Morgiana took off the blindfold and asked him to sew her poor master's body back together? Okay, Baba Mustafa did so, and after he was finished, he was blindfolded again and taken home. In this way, Kasim had a dignified funeral and no one was the least suspicious. Man, there was a whole arc for that. Your English voices are too good. I do my best. I'm glad you enjoy. Alibaba inherited his brother's house. As he liked that house better than his own, he moved in with his wife and they lived together with Kasim's widow and Morgiana the servant. In the meantime, the 40 thieves had not forgotten the intruder in their cave.
Someone else knows our secret,
said the leader.
The pile of gold is smaller. Who will go into the city to see what can be found out?
One of the thieves volunteered and left early the next morning in disguise. He soon found Baba Mustafa's shop, in which the old wise man was busy with his work.
Good man, the thief said to the old man. How can you still see so clearly at your age?
I can see that you are not from around here,
said Baba Mustafa.
My eyes are the best in the city. Why, not long ago I sewed a dead man back together in a room with a much darker than this.
Oh no.
Go on. Where was that? Asked the thief.
I don't know. I was taken there blindfolded,
replied Baba Mustafa. The thief held out a couple of gold pieces.
Take me there.
I told you I was blindfolded,
said Baba Mustafa.
Try to remember in which direction you were led, pressed the thief.
Baba Mustafa accepted the challenge, and as he had a good memory, they soon arrived in front of Kasim's house, which was now Alibaba's. The thief thanked Baba Mustafa, then he secretly made a cross with chalk on the door and went back into the forest. Shortly afterwards, Morgiana discovered the mark. She assumed that this mark was not a good sign, so she took a piece of chalk of the same color and drew crosses on all the other doors in the neighborhood. Damn. That same night, the 40 thieves sneaked into the city. They looked for the door marked with a cross, intending to kill the people who lived there. But when they found that every other door had a cross, they left in great anger. Well, strategies. Yeah, challenge accepted. That same night, the 40 thieves sneaked into the city. They looked for the door marked with a cross. Oh, I already read that one. The following day, the leader decided to take things into his own hands. He too found Baba Mustafa, who led him to Ali Baba's house. The leader examined it closely, and very soon he had an idea. Humble, never accepting you're the best. Well, because I really don't think I am. I mean, it's and I think it's always good to be humble. So that because I always feel like there's room for improvement. Never rest on your laurels, as they say. Hi, Pilsen. Welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. The soft and comfortable tone of Angel? I don't know about Angel. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying. But yeah, hope you're doing well, Pilsen. I'm reading Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. When he got back to the forest, he sent his men to buy some mules and 40 leather oil jars. When everything had been bought, the leader filled one of the jars with oil, leaving the others empty. Then he ordered all his men into the empty jars, which he then sealed, leaving just a little air hole in each lid. That night, he drove his strange convoy into the city. Ali Baba was enjoying the cool night air when the leader of the thieves stopped outside, pretending that he was an oil merchant bound for market the following day. He said he had come a long distance and was very tired. This guy and his methods. That's why I respect you. Will say too kind. I do my best. I'm good aside from melting from the heat. I hope you can keep cool somehow. Hope the book's been going well. Yeah, I'm having a nice time continuing reading. I guess this be the jar. Yes, oil merchant.
Alibaba did not recognize him at all. You're welcome here, Alibaba said. Come into my house and spend the night. The fake merchant put his jars in the courtyard under the window of the room where he would be staying. While Alibaba was out of earshot, the leader went to each jar and gave his orders. Can you hear me? When I throw little stones out of my window, split the vases from top to bottom with your knives and get out. I will then tell you what to do. He went to bed early, keeping all his clothes on, ready for action. Damn. Meanwhile, Morgiana was working in the kitchen when her oil lamp suddenly went out. Oh, what a time to run out of oil, she cried. Well, go into the courtyard, said Abdallah, another servant. There's plenty of oil as long as the merchant is here. Morgiana took a jug and went outside. When she approached the first jar, she heard, Hey, is it time? That voice certainly came from the jar. Oh no. Bro, I think Morgiana's the MVP right now. Oh, please enjoy your cold drink. Oil cognac. Morgiana, who was a quick thinker, realized the danger immediately and answered in a whisper, Not yet, but soon. She went to the other jars, hearing the same question and giving the same answer until she found the oil jar. Like the actual oil jar? First, she lit her lamp again. Then she poured the oil from the last jar into a large copper pan, which she put on the stove until boiled. Then she poured boiling oil into each jar, killing all the thieves quickly and quietly. Huh? Ain't no way they sizzled quietly. But dang. Later, when the leader of the thieves threw the little stones out of his window, he was angry that there was no response. He went outside to wake up the thieves, but when he smelled the hot oil and leather, he thought it wiser to leave quickly. Next morning, when Ali Baba came back from the bathhouse, he was surprised to see the jars still in his courtyard. Morgiana told him to open one of them, and when he saw what was in it, he jumped back in fright. And the servant told him about how she had rescued him and his family. Ali Baba must have realized that the men in the jars must be the thieves from the cave with the magic door. As a reward, he gave Morgiana her freedom. Ooh! He buried the bodies, sold the mules, and carefully hid the weapons and the leather jars. However, although the leader of the thieves had run off, he was not that far away. He longed to take his revenge on the man who had invaded his horde and destroyed his gang. In a little while, he returned to the city, rented a shop, and became a cloth merchant. That's a lot of odd jobs. Calling himself Kolgia Hussein, he made it his business to become very friendly with Ali Baba's son. He was extremely courteous to the young man, and finally succeeded in being invited to his father's house. That sounds like the long game. Ali Baba invited his son's new friend to stay for dinner, but the man refused. Why do you refuse? Said Ali Baba, surprised. He does not remember the oil merchant, does he? He's It's because I can only eat food without salt, and this creates too much trouble for the people who invite me, said the phony merchant. That makes no difference to me, cried Alibaba. I can offer you a meal without salt. Come on, I beg you. Do me the honor and stay. The man then accepted. Morgana was annoyed that she had to start all over again, preparing food without salt. Can you imagine food without salt? But she did what she was asked. She thought the guest must be a very strange man to make such demands. Under the pretext of helping Abdallah, she served at the table so that she could have a look at the stranger. Morgana was more perceptive than Alibaba. She recognized the cruel leader of the thieves straight away, even though he was disguised as a cloth merchant. She saw the knife he was hiding under his clothes and devised a very bold plan. When they had eaten their dessert, she dressed herself up as a dancer with a sword fixed to her belt, as if it was part of the costume. Abdallah accompanied her, playing the tambourine. As if it was part of the dance, Morgana drew the sword from its sheath. Alibaba was delighted. He let her dance for a long time, thinking to entertain his guest, who was actually waiting for the right moment to kill him. As was the custom, when the dance was over, Abdallah took the hollow tambourine to collect some money. Alibaba threw in 1 gold piece, and the leader of the thieves took out his pouch to find one too. While he was fumbling in his pouch, Morgana thrust the sword deep into his heart. Damn. He died instantly. I guess this is the exact moment of the stab-up. Once again, Morgana had uncovered the evil plot of the thieves' leader, and Alibaba was determined to reward her richly. A few days later, a magnificent feast was held to celebrate the wedding of his son and Morgana. Oh, interesting. Alibaba let an entire year pass by, then as there appeared to be no reason to further fear reprisals, he mounted his horse and rode to the thieves' cave. He cried out loud the words, "Open sesame!" The door opened and Alibaba found all the treasure as he had last seen it. Now he was the only one who knew the secret. He loaded his horse with gold and returned home. At last he called his son and told him of his adventures from beginning to end, including the magic words. And so, this was how Alibaba and his offspring passed the secret on from father to son. They lived in great splendor to the end of their days, and they were loved and honored by the entire city. Man, they must have stolen a lot if it can provide for generations of Alibaba's family. Maybe it was also generations of thieves. But yeah, that was Alibaba and the 40 Thieves from 1001 Nights. Yeah, money. Jeez. It's getting cold where I live and soon it will snow. I hope you can stay warm. But yeah, our next story is called The Little Tailor, which is by the Brothers Grimm. Hi Kaku, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, it's story time again. I improved on the setup a tiny bit. I forgot that I wanted to use this background. And I also made the BGM loop a lot easier, more seamless. I don't have to keep clicking. So yeah, it's gonna be smooth story time today. Yeah, Brothers Grimm. Hi Austin, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Open sesame is me when I forget to close the seed jar, specifically sesame seeds. I can stay longer since it's Friday night, Saturday morning. I see! If you need to rest though, feel free to rest. It do be a comfy stream today. I'm good, hope you're doing good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to read the rest of this book. We're about this far in. I'm alright, how are you? Oh, that's good to hear. I'm doing good. It's pretty comfy today because it's been a bit drizzly outside. I'll miss you while I'm gone. Yeah. Please take care while on cruise. I really appreciate the support though. Yes, please take care. Probably gonna take off in a bit. No worries. Go ahead. Okay, Little Tailor. Look at how little he is. One summer morning, a little tailor was sitting cross-legged on his table near the window, sewing cheerfully. As he was working, a peasant woman came down the street crying, "Jam for sale! Good jam for sale!" The tailor thought this sounded very good, especially as it was almost lunchtime. He put his friendly face out of the window and said, "Over here, good woman. I would like to buy some jam." The woman walked up the steps of the tailor's shop with her heavy basket and laid out all the jars she had in front of him. It took a while for the tailor to examine them all, but he finally said,
This jam seems good. Measure 2 long spoonfuls for me, good woman. No, make it 4.
The woman had hoped for a better sale than this. After letting him look at every single jar, but nonetheless gave him what he wanted. When she had gone, the tailor took a loaf of bread out of the cupboard and cut a thick slice on which to spread the jam.
It looks delicious, he thought, but before sinking my teeth into it, I'd better finish sewing this jacket.
He put the bread down next to him on the bench and continued to sew. The smell of jam attracted some flies which were on the wall, and soon several of them had settled on the sticky sandwich. Ugh!
Who invited you?
Exclaimed the tailor, trying to swat them. The flies took no notice of his flailing arms and buzzed around the jam in even greater numbers than before. Bro's got a pest problem. By this time, the tailor had had enough. He grabbed a piece of cloth from the drawer and cried,
Just wait, I'll give you what for.
I guess those are the flies. Ooh.
Fly sprinkled jam.
Would you like some flies with your jam? Or jam with your flies?
He struck out, and this time 7 dead flies dropped to the counter.
Good gracious, he exclaimed. I am a strong man. The whole city, no, the whole world must know about this. Huh?
Bro wants to brag. He then made himself a belt and embroidered on it in big letters,
7 at 1 blow.
He put the belt around his waist and decided to go out into the wide world there and then. Before he left, he searched the entire house to find something he could take with him, but all he could find was some old cheese, which he put in his pocket. Ugh. By the front door, he noticed a bird that was entangled in the thicket. He rescued it and put it in his pocket with the cheese. Then he bravely took to the road, feeling as though he could walk forever. He put a bird in his pocket?
Poor bird.
After a while, he passed by a mountain on top, which sat an enormous giant. The little tailor went straight up to him and said,
Hello, my friend. There you are, looking at the world below. And here I am on my way into the world to look for adventure. Would you like to join me?
The giant gave him a scornful look and replied,
Funny fellow, you little shrimp.
Not I, cried the little tailor. He unbuttoned his coat and showed the giant his belt.
Read this, and then you will know who you are talking to.
The giant read the words 7 at 1 blow. Obviously, there was more to this little man than there seemed if he had killed 7 men in the sword.
Yeah, he was not very specific there.
Still, he wanted to test him, so he picked up a stone and squeezed it so hard that water ran out of it.
The bird in the pocket brings out his real voice. Oh, that's a giant.
And I guess that's the bird? Wait, the bird has like 4 wings? Or is that supposed to be like...
Wait, let me see.
It has like 4 wings, or maybe it's supposed to illustrate motion.
Do you have the strength to do what I have just done?
Asked the giant. Is that all? Sniffed the tailor. This is a child's game in my country. He fumbled in his pocket and took out the old piece of cheese he'd brought from his house. Then he squeezed it in his hand hard until the whey spurted out. The giant could not understand how such a small man could be so strong. He took another stone and threw it in the air so high that it nearly went out of sight and said,
Go on, little man. Now you do that.
A good throw, said the tailor, but the stone fell back to the ground again. I will throw one so high that it will never fall to the earth.
I see where this is going.
He then took the bird which he had rescued from the thicket out of his pocket and threw it swiftly into the air. The bird was so delighted to be free once more that it flew swiftly up into the sky and out of sight.
I don't think the giant has good eyesight. Not way too good of a vocal range. I guess I do have a pretty
wide
range for my voice. Wide comfortable
range. Oh my goodness, comfortable range.
Yeah.
You can certainly throw,
said the giant.
But can you carry as heavy as you can throw high?
He led the little tailor to a huge oak tree which had been chopped down.
This one? Oh my gosh, he's just sitting there. Well, he's pretty big though.
If you are really that strong, help me to lift up this tree, he said. No problem, said the tailor. Take the trunk on your shoulders and I will take care of the branches and the top. They are much heavier.
Oh no. The giant took the trunk on his shoulders and the tailor sat down on a branch behind. The giant then carried the whole tree by himself and unknown to him, the tailor as well. He perched comfortably on a branch, merrily whistling a song as if carrying the tree was a piece of cake. After a few yards, the giant, who was almost crushed by the heavy burden, could not take another step and cried,
Look out, I'm going to drop the tree.
The little man sprang to the ground and seized the tree with both arms as if he had been doing his share all along.
When you said, oh my goodness, that's your real voice, I almost want to hear you speak normal for a few seconds. I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, my voice has a pretty wide range of comfort. So, this is all pretty normal for me. And, although, I guess it's a bit hard to believe. So, yeah. Although I have gotten some, I guess as an aside, I have gotten some, pretty rude messages about my voice back then, saying,
Your real voice is much cuter. Or like much better. Stop using your baby voice when...
Newsflash, all of it is my normal voice. You know, I always took it as, well, since some people actually
took the time to comment that kind of thing.
maybe I made it. Maybe I've made it. So yeah. So I wouldn't really say
I have a real voice, because this is all my voice.
So yeah.
After a few yards, the giant, who was almost crushed by the heavy burden, could not take another step and cried,
Look out,
Oh wait, I already read that part. You're not all that powerful for a man of your size, he remarked to the giant. The odd pair continued walking, and soon they passed by a cherry tree heavy with fruit.
I think it's just wild. Never met many people who can literally sound like multiple people like that. I guess I don't know. I just do some. I just like to do
Scuffed voices for when...
you know, times like these. But yeah. But yeah, thank you guys.
The giant reached to pick some of the ripest cherries from the top branches where they were growing. Then he bent the branches down so that the tailor could also eat some of the cherries. The tailor was, of course, too weak to hold the branches down by himself. When the giant let go, the tree sprang upright, carrying the little man into the air with it. Whoa! When he fell back to the ground again, the giant said,
What is the matter with you? Don't you have the strength to bend such a little tree?
This has nothing to do with strength, answered the little tailor. Why, I jumped over the tree to save myself from the bullets coming from some hunter's gun who were shooting through the bushes. What? Couldn't you do it? The giant tried, but he could not jump over the tree and got stuck in the branches.
So the tailor had the advantage over him yet again. Bro's just making stuff up. Weird people can be weird, yeah. Truly. Some people, don't
Have hobbies.
Since you are such a sturdy man, said the giant, I invite you to our cave to spend the night with us.
The tailor gladly accepted. When they arrived, they found other giants sitting around a fire, each with a roasted sheep in his hand. The giant showed the little tailor a bed where he could lie down, but as the bed was much too big for his little body, he curled up in a corner. At midnight, when the giant thought the tailor was fast asleep, he seized the huge iron bar and struck the bed in the middle, thinking to kill the little man. Bruh. The next morning, the giants got up early. They had forgotten all about the little tailor. When they saw him come out of the cave, very jauntily and rather impudently, they were overcome with fear, so they ran away into the forest as fast as they could. Oh my gosh. The little tailor continued his journey, still with his head in the air. After a long day's walk, he arrived at the palace garden. As he felt a little tired, he stretched out onto the grass and fell asleep. Some people who worked in the palace found him. They inspected him from all sides and read on his belt, 7 at one blow. Oh, why is this great warrior here in this time of peace? They asked themselves. He must be an important lord. They went to the king to tell him what they had seen. They told him that if war was to break out, this man would be very useful and that they should on no account let him go.
Honestly, I can't believe anybody could be mean to Little Tay. I always had a look of shock when she said people were weird about her voice and mean to her. I guess, especially if you're a content creator or putting yourself out there will always be people. You'll always meet all sorts of people. Not all of them are good ones, unfortunately. Bonk 'em.
No worries. That was like some years ago. That was literally the only thing they did. They only commented that. So
I guess they didn't really bother to stick around. But yeah. Good riddance, I'd say.
the king followed their advice and sent one of his courtiers to the little man to serve him as soon as he woke up. When the tailor opened his eyes and stretched out, the courtier had at once offered him his services.
I have in fact come for that purpose, said the tailor. I am ready to accept the king's services.
He was welcomed with all kinds of honors and assigned an apartment in the palace, but the king's soldiers were jealous of him.
What will happen if we have an argument with him? They muttered to each other. He will jump on us and kill 7 at one blow. None of us will survive. We won't stand a chance.
Oh my gosh. Bonk 'em with soap. Yeah. But it's okay. They're not around anymore.
They decided to go to the king to ask him for permission to leave.
We cannot stay in the same place with a man who has killed 7 at one blow, they said to him.
The king was distressed to see all his soldiers abandon him like this. Uh-oh. He began to wish that he had never set eyes on the person who had caused all this trouble, and said he was quite willing to get rid of the little tailor. However, the king did not dare to dismiss him outright because he was too afraid that this fearsome man might kill him in order to seize the throne.
They are so scared of him.
The king thought, and at last came up with a plan. He had to make that little tailor an offer that he could not refuse as a great warrior. Now, there were 2 huge giants who committed all kinds of crimes, who lived in the forest of this country. No one ever approached them without fearing for their lives. If the tailor were to go defeat and kill them, the king promised to give him his only daughter as his wife and half of his kingdom as well. Damn. He also gave him 100 horsemen to help him carry out the task. The little tailor thought this was the chance of a lifetime. He agreed to fight the 2 giants, but said he did not need the help of the 100 horsemen. He said, because someone who has defeated 7 at one blow is not likely to be afraid of just 2 opponents. Damn. This guy's confidence is through the roof.
The bluffing.
He set off for the forest at once, followed by the 100 horsemen. When he arrived at the edge of the forest, the little tailor told him to wait. He was determined to put an end to the 2 giants single-handed.
Honestly, I'd hire Say just to have her answer phones with her voice and pay her well. Really?
He's the meme now, I'd win.
Truly. If Gojo was a little tailor.
He went into the forest and carefully looked around him. In less than a second, he discovered the 2 giants. They were sleeping under a tree, snoring so loudly that the branches shook. The little tailor filled his pockets with stones and climbed up into the tree at once. He crept along a branch which was just hanging above the 2 sleeping giants and dropped the stones one by one on one giant's chest. It took a long time before the giant felt anything, but at last he woke up, shook his friend, and said,
What are you hitting me for? You're dreaming, said the other. I haven't touched you.
Then they went back to sleep. The tailor then began to throw stones down onto the other giant.
What is that? He cried. What are you throwing at me? I haven't thrown anything at you. You must have been dreaming, answered the other.
They began to argue, but they were too tired to carry on for long, and after a while, went back to sleep. However, the little tailor continued to play his game, this time dropping even bigger stones. There he is, right there.
Hi, hello, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading more fairy tales.
This one's called The Little Tailor by Brothers Grimm. Wait, are those feet? Oh yeah, those are the giant's feet.
This POV.
That is enough, cried the giant.
He jumped up like a madman and flew at his friend, who fought back fiercely. The fight became so violent that they tore trees out of the ground to use as weapons, and they did not stop until both of them fell dead on the ground. The little tailor then left his hideout. He drew his sword and thrust it into each giant. Then he went back into his horsemen and said,
It's over and done with. I have given both of them the finishing stroke. The fight was terrible. They even tore trees out of the ground to throw at me, but what good is that against a man who has killed 7 at one blow? Aren't you injured? Asked the horseman. No, he said. Not a hair of my head was touched.
The horsemen could not believe it. They went into the forest, and to their great surprise they found the 2 giants covered in blood, with trees lying all around them. The little tailor went to the king to claim his reward. However, the king regretted that he had made this promise and tried to find another way of getting rid of the tailor. I thought that's thighs. Oh my gosh, that would be really thick thighs.
There is another task you must complete before I give you my daughter and half of my kingdom,
said the king.
There is a dangerous unicorn which runs about these forests, doing a great deal of damage. I want you to capture it and bring it to the palace. I am even less scared of a unicorn than 2 giants. 7 at one blow is my motto, declared the little tailor.
I guess those are all the trees that they uprooted. It's like a whole tiny little forest slave. He took a rope and an axe and went into the wood. He ordered the soldiers who accompanied him to stay at the edge of the wood. Soon, the unicorn appeared and charged towards the tailor, meaning to spear him with its horn.
Easy, easy, said the tailor. Not too fast.
He stood still until the animal was almost on top of him. Then he quickly dodged behind a tree. Well, excuse me. The unicorn, running with all its might, pierced his sharp horn so far into the trunk that it was impossible to pull it out again, and so the beast was caught. The little tailor left his hiding place and put the rope around the unicorn's neck. Then with his axe, he released its horn that was stuck in the tree. Finally, he took the animal to the king. The king was amazed that he had captured the unicorn, but still he would not give the tailor his reward. Instead, he made a 3rd demand of him. The tailor was ordered to capture a wild boar that was rampaging in the nearby woods. The man could, of course, have the assistance of the king's huntsman. The king was convinced that this time the little tailor was sure to fail. This tailor seems like an isekai protagonist. He does, doesn't he? But he actually does live in this world. Yeah, wow. Although he saw right through the king's plans, the tailor accepted this 3rd demand, saying that it was merely child's play. As before, he went into the forest alone, refusing help from the huntsmen. They were not angry with his decision, because the boar had more than once got the better of them, and had killed or injured several of their number in past hunts. Taylor strolled along the path, and it wasn't long before he encountered the boar. Well, say I'm off, enjoy streaming, and I'm wishing you the best. Thank you, Tom! Please take care. And thank you again for the bits. I really appreciate it. As soon as the boar saw him, it charged at him, foaming at the mouth and snapping its sharp teeth that could easily bite through him. The nimble man rushed into a nearby chapel and immediately jumped out of the window at the far end. The boar rushed in after the tailor, but within 2 leaps the tailor ran around the outside of the chapel and slammed the door shut behind him. The furious beast was caught, for it was too big and heavy to escape through the window. It was too fat. Then the tailor went to the king, who was now obliged to keep his word and give the man his daughter and half his kingdom. If he had known that his son-in-law was a mere needleworker and not a great warrior, he would have been outraged. The marriage was celebrated with much pomp but little joy, and the little tailor became king. One night, the young queen heard her husband talking in his dreams. "Hurry up, apprentice.
Hurry up, apprentice. Finish that jacket and patch those trousers, or I will give you a good whack," he was muttering.
Hi Johnny, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I need to hear your voice so I can feel better. I just finished Expedition 33 again and I cried again. There. I hope you enjoyed though. I've actually been kind of, I've been playing a little bit of it now and then with all of the graphic settings cranked up because I can do it and it's so pretty. So I've been kind of just doing extra content things. But yeah, I hope you had a nice time. You never need to thank me. Thank you for thinking outside of the box with your streams, just being kind and fun. I must thank though. I wish to thank. It's the least I could do. But thank you again. But yes, pat pat Johnny.
I'm reading The Little Tailor.
Is what it's called. Moist.
She realized that the young man was not all he seemed, and listening closely, she soon discovered that he had been brought up in a tailor shop.
The next morning she went to her father and
Complained. She begged him to release her from her husband, who was only a humble tailor. The king promised that he would help her.
Leave your room unlocked tonight, he said. My soldiers will guard the door, and when the tailor is fast asleep, they will come in and chain him up. Then they will take him to a ship that will carry him far away.
I guess that's his wife.
We're getting a new update with a new area and a new boss later this year. Yeah, I heard!
And it's a free update too. Man, the devs really be spoiling us. Honestly, Clair Obscure is my game of the year.
The young woman was delighted, but the king's footman, who had heard everything and who had grown to like the new heir, told him their plans.
I will soon put a stop to that, the tailor said to him.
That evening he went to bed as usual. When his wife thought he was fast asleep, she got out of bed to unlock the door, then returned to bed. The little man, who was only pretending to be asleep, began to cry out,
Hurry up, apprentice, finish that jacket and patch those trousers, or I will give you a good whack. I have defeated 7 at one blow, I have killed 2 giants, chased a unicorn, and captured a boar. Do you think I am afraid of the people that stand outside my door?
Called out.
When they heard this, the soldiers were overcome by fear, and ran away as if the devil was on their backs. From then on, no one ever dared to cross him, and the tailor remained king for the rest of his life.
The end.
Man, that guy's journey's pretty crazy.
He bluffed his way to kingdom. Now yeah, that was the little tailor. This next one is Tom Thumb.
It's written by...
Yeah, he's very smart. Brains over brawn in this one. Tom Thumb by the Brothers Grimm. There he is. Look at how small he is.
I would say that Clair Obscure is the game of my life, along with Persona 3 and Final Fantasy X. They're the only games that made me cry like a baby.
Oh, yeah, they are quite special. I will always remember Clair Obscure and Persona 3 for sure.
Final Fantasy X, I never actually finished it.
I might wanna stream it someday.
Once I feel like playing another Final Fantasy after the 6th one.
He'd make a good poker player, yeah. If there was poker in these times. Tom Thumb.
One evening, a poor farmer sat by the hearth, poking up the fire to stir up some warmth. His wife sat next to him, spinning thread.
How sad it is that we don't have children, he said. Here it is always so quiet, while in the other houses it's noisy and lively.
That is true, sighed his wife. If only we had one child, even if it were very tiny and not much bigger than my thumb, we would be satisfied and love it with all our hearts.
That's oddly specific.
Be careful what you wish for. Now it so happened that the wife's wish was granted. After 7 months passed, she gave birth to a child who was perfect in every way except that he was no bigger than her thumb. Damn.
His thumb?
It is as we wished it to be, she said. He will be our dear child. And because of his size, they named him Tom Thumb. Although he was given plenty of food, Tom did not grow any bigger, but stayed the same size as the day he was born. However, he had lively eyes and succeeded in everything he did because he was very intelligent.
Oh, another small boy.
Yeah, would.
He like this small, I guess? Or this small?
One day, the farmer was getting ready to go into the forest to cut wood.
I wish that there was someone who would bring the cart to me, he said to himself.
Oh, father, I will take care of it, cried Tom Thumb. You can rely on me. The cart will arrive in time in the forest. The man started to laugh and said,
How can that be done? You are too small to lead the horse by the reins.
That doesn't matter, father, replied the lad. If mother will harness it, I will sit in the horse's ear and tell him where to go.
He's a horse whisperer. Look at him whispering. Also, damn, the horse eyelash is on fleek.
Well, we will give it a try, said the man.
When the time came, the mother harnessed the horse and placed Tom Thumb in its ear. From there, he started to shout at the horse, telling it where to go, sometimes, yeah, and sometimes, wah! He handled the horse as if he were a rider, and the cart went straight to the forest. Just as the horse was turning a corner and Tom Thumb was shouting, yeah, yeah, two strangers stood in his path.
Well, what do we have here? Said one. The cart is moving, the horse is moving, but we don't see anyone leading it.
He's that small. Horse detective.
There's something not quite right here, claimed the other.
Let's follow the cart to see where it stops.
The cart drove on to the forest and arrived at the exact place where the wood had been cut. When Tom Thumb saw his father, he cried,
You see, father, here I am with the cart. Now put me on the ground.
The father held the reins with one hand, and with the other hand he took his son out of the horse's ear. The little boy sat down happily on a straw. When two strangers saw Tom Thumb, they were so surprised that they did not know what to think. Then one of them took the other aside and said,
Listen, this little fellow could make us a fortune if we exhibited him for money in a large city. We have to buy him.
Then turning to Tom's father, they said,
Sell us this little man. He will be well looked after. No, replied the father. He is the apple of my eye, and I will not sell him for all the gold in the world.
But hearing this proposal, Tom Thumb climbed up the folds of his father's coat, sat on his shoulder, and whispered in his ear, Father, sell me today. I will soon return home again. So, after a little more talk, his father sold him to the men for a large sum of money.
Where do you want to sit? Asked the men. Oh, just put me on the rim of your hat. Then I can walk to and fro and look at the countryside without falling off, replied Tom Thumb.
They did as he asked, and when Tom had said goodbye to his father, they set off together. They traveled until darkness came, and Tom Thumb then said,
Put me on the ground for a while. No, stay up there for now, answered the one who carried him. It makes no difference to me.
No, answered Tom Thumb. I know my manners. Put me on the ground quickly. The man took his hat off and placed him on the ground near the road. Tom jumped into the thick undergrowth, then suddenly slipped into a mouse hole that he had noticed beforehand.
Goodbye, gentlemen. You can continue your journey without me.
He jeered as he disappeared. The men ran towards him and prodded the mouse hole with their sticks, but it was all in vain. Tom Thumb crept further in, and as it was becoming dark, they could do nothing but return home, angry with empty pockets. When Tom Thumb could no longer hear their voices, he came out of the hole.
It is dangerous on the ground when it is dark, he said to himself.
I could easily break an arm or a leg.
I better look for somewhere to rest.
Fortunately, he found an empty snail shell. Are we getting more books in the future? Your voice acting for the characters is so fun, it made me forget I just shed a lifetime of your tears 5 minutes ago. Really? I'm glad I could help. I'm thinking I do want to maybe do some more book reading streams. Actually, maybe sometime. It's either book reading or... well, pretty much Saturday afternoon would be my variety comfy days. I kind of want to do some, like, continue doing paint by numbers on stream as a sort of excuse to continue that. Because I've left one paint by numbers project sitting for years. I figured I could finish it on stream or something. And then, in terms of books, I do want to read The Little Prince again. Maybe I'll do that sometime. Since it also has some illustrations, I could also hand cam it.
Thank heavens, he said. I can spend the night here safely.
And he crept into the shell. There he is. It's a ladybug. Last time I slept with headphones on and your stream playing, I really felt like a kid again. Oh, I'm glad! That's what this stream is for, after all. I'm glad I could help you feel comfy. A little later on, when he was about to fall asleep, he heard 2 men pass by. One of them said,
How shall we set about stealing the rich pastor's silver and gold?
I can tell you that, Tom Thumb shouted.
What was that?
Said one thief, trembling. I heard a voice.
They stopped to listen while Tom Thumb continued.
Take me with you. I will help you.
But where are you? They cried.
Look on the ground and listen where the voice comes from, he answered.
The thieves found him at last and picked up the snail shell.
Listen, fellow. How do you think you can help us? They said.
Oh, I can climb into the pastor's room between the window bars and hand out to you everything you want, replied Tom Thumb.
Well, we will see what you can do, they decided.
Soon they arrived at the pastor's house, and Tom Thumb slid into the room through the bars. The reason why, 'cause
I've only done one Say Crafts stream, quote unquote, and it was when I assembled this. It was really fun. It was like my first Say Crafts stream I did earlier this year. I kind of want to do more. Hi, Dr. 86. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the bits. I also like the reading. It might be a bit of a bedtime story for me in the end. That's good. That's what it's for. I'm glad you guys enjoy. I'm having a lot of fun as well. Soon they arrived at the pastor's house and Tom Thumb slid into the room through the bars. When he was inside, he started to cry aloud with all his might.
Do you want everything in here? The thieves shuddered and told him, "Shh, talk softly so as to not wake anyone."
But Tom Thumb pretended not to hear them and continued to shout,
"What do you want? Do you want everything in here?"
The cook, who slept in the room next door, heard the voices. She sat up in bed and listened, but the two frightened thieves had run off. After a while, when they had regained their courage, they said to each other,
"The little fellow is trying to get the better of us."
They went back to the house and whispered,
"Come on, be serious and pass us something."
So Tom Thumb started to shout again as loud as he could,
"Yes, I will give you everything. Come a little closer and put your hands inside."
The cook jumped out of bed and the frightened thieves ran away as if the devil was on their heels. When the cook went into the room, she could not see anything. She put the light on and checked every corner of the house, but she did not discover Tom Thumb. So she went back to bed thinking she must have dreamed everything. There she is. Just waking up from a nap. I hope you had a nice nap. Tom Thumb slipped out of the house and hid in the barn. He climbed into a pile of hay and found a cozy place to sleep. He planned to rest there until the next morning, then return to his parents, but there were still other adventures in store for him. The world can bring a lot of trouble and bad luck, as Tom would find out the next day. As she did every morning, the cook got up at the crack of dawn to feed the animals. First, she went to the shed where she took an armful of hay from the exact place where Tom Thumb was sleeping. He was sleeping so soundly that he felt nothing. In fact, he did not wake up until he was in the cow's mouth after she had taken a bite of the hay.
"Oh dear," he cried, realizing his danger. "How did I end up here?"
That rhymed. The only way to avoid being crushed by the cow's teeth was to slip down into her stomach, which the tiny lad bravely did. The cow didn't even notice and carried on eating. "I forgot to put the windows in his little room," he said when he landed in her dark insides.
"Oh."
How is he not? Oh no.
"The sun doesn't shine in and it would be difficult to get a candle in here."
Tom was very unhappy in his new home, especially as more hay kept arriving. The space around him grew smaller and smaller. In a panic, he started to shout as loudly as he could,
"Don't give me any more hay! Don't give me any more hay!"
The cook was milking the cow when she heard the voice shouting, but she could not see anyone although she looked, so she carried on until Tom cried out again. Yeah, how do you get eaten without being chewed? I mean, even in Attack on Titan, Armin lost his arm after getting chomped. Although, I guess Eren didn't really get... Oh wait, no. Was he the one who lost? No. Armin was the one who lost his arm, because Armin. But yeah. More.
More hay, more.
Suddenly she recognized the voice from the night before, and she was so shocked that she fell from the stool and spilled all the milk. Oh no! What a waste. I'll have my 8 now, 3 a.m. in my country. Thanks again, say I'll come back to my childhood while I sleep again. Oh, I'm glad I could help you sleep. But yes, please rest well, Johnny. Thank you for tuning in. And have good dreams. Try not to get eaten by a cow. Oh, thank you for the head pats, Johnny. Thank you.
She rushed to her master and cried, "Ah, goodness! Pastor, the cow has been talking." "You are mad," answered the pastor,
who nonetheless went himself to the stable to see what was happening for himself. As soon as he had set foot in the stable, Tom Thumb started to shout again,
"Don't give me any more hay! Don't give me any more hay!"
So yes, night, Johnny. And the pastor became frightened. He thought it was the voice of the devil, and he ordered that the cow be killed. How is Tom Thumb not getting digested? Well, I guess it takes a while for cows to digest, if they have so many tummies. The cow was slaughtered and they threw the stomach with Tom Thumb in it onto the rubbish heap. Ugh.
Tom thought that now he would be able to escape, but just as he managed to put his head out, another misfortune happened. A hungry wolf that was passing by swallowed the whole stomach in one gulp. Still, Tom Thumb did not lose courage. That wolf did not chew. Maybe the wolf will listen to what I have to say, he thought. And from the wolf's belly he called, "Dear wolf, I know a delicious treat that you will find most enjoyable."
"Where can I find this?" answered the wolf.
Oh, he found it odd to hear a voice coming from his stomach.
I will take you there. You will find a cake, bacon, sausages, as much as he can eat.
Then Tom described his father's house in detail.
The wolf didn't need telling twice.
That night, he found his way to the house and slipped into the kitchen through the hole in the wall. He slunk into the pantry where he ate and ate and ate.
Bro, I just realized it's like stomachception. Yeah, see you next time, Johnny. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sure, the wolf can talk, but not the cow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the one who's listening is the wolf.
The cow was not exactly replying to its stomach. When he had eaten his fill, he tried to leave through the hole, but he had grown so fat that he could not go out the same way as he had come in. Tom Thumb then began to make a terrible uproar in the wolf's stomach.
Will you be quiet? Said the wolf, groaning. You will wake up the people who live here.
Oh, too bad, replied Tom. You have eaten your fill. I want to enjoy myself as well. Then he began to yell and cry again with all his might. At last his parents were woken up by all the noise. They ran into the kitchen and looked around. When they saw the wolf, the man fetched his axe, and the woman grabbed a knife.
"Stay behind me," said the man. "I will hit the wolf, then you cut him into pieces."
When Tom Thumb heard his father's voice, he cried, "Dear father, I am here. I am in the wolf's stomach."
"Goodness," said his father, "our dear boy has found us again. But what a way to return home."
He told his wife to put down the knife because he was afraid it would harm Tom Thumb in the wolf's stomach. Then he gave the wolf a hard blow on the head, which killed him. Poor Wolfie.
Oh no! That's him eating everything. Oh, it's like he got puppy dog sparkling eyes for all the sausages and meats.
Man. Oh, there's some mice here too. They're like, I hope he doesn't notice us.
Yep, stonk papa. He just needed one bunk. Minus one cow, minus one wolf.
Yeah.
R.I.P. 07 for the cow and wolf. Yeah, thank you for the bits, Dr. 86.
Tom's father picked up a pair of scissors, cut the wolf's stomach open, and rescued his son.
He's probably really stinky now.
"Thank goodness," he said. "We've been so worried about you."
Yes, father. It is good to breathe fresh air again.
Now, how did he not suffocate or get digested? Or all those other things?
Where have you been then?
asked the man.
Ah, father, I have seen much of the world. I have been in a mouse hole, in a cow's stomach, and in a wolf's belly.
I wonder what the difference is visually.
Now I am home with you, which is where I want to stay.
"And we will never sell you again, not for all the treasures of the world,"
declared his parents. They hugged their sweet Tom Thumb for a long time, and from that day on,
Tom was far more careful about the journeys he made.
Depends on the stomach. I guess so. I guess it's more grassy for the cow and then more meaty for the wolfie. Are they... Oh yeah, enzymes are acids. There's also that part as well. Makes you think, huh?
I guess, okay, I was thinking about Thumbelina as well, because Thumb, but I guess there's no Thumbelina here.
I just remember because in Shrek 2, Tom Thumb and Thumbelina were a couple. So yeah. Oh, this one! Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. Whoa, look at that hair. Which is a tale from 1001 Nights as well. So if it's enzyme and if it doesn't match the stomach, it can't digest. Maybe that's how it worked. Maybe that's... But then... Maybe that makes sense for the cow part, right? And I guess since he was still in the cow's stomach, in the wolf's stomach, so maybe he was somewhat okay? Because... stomachception? I forget, do cows have multiple stomachs too? They do, yes. I think they have 4? If I remember correctly. Okay. Aladdin and the Magic Lamp.
Let's see how different it is from Disney version.
Yeah, maybe the cow stomach protected him. Maybe. I don't know. It could be. Who knows?
In the capital of an oriental kingdom lived a young boy called Aladdin. He was poorly dressed and he spent his days running barefoot through the streets with other rascals. He had lost his father and it was his mother who had the job of feeding him. She earned money for food by spinning from sunrise to sunset. Street rat.
Hi Kazan, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading some more fairy tales. This one's Aladdin and the Magic Lamp.
One day I will be old, she often said to him, and you will have to work to earn your living. So, learn a profession. But Aladdin laughed. A profession? There's plenty of time for that. I'd rather enjoy myself. And he ran outside to find his friends again. This kid.
Good to hear you're doing good. Now, one afternoon when he was playing in the town square, a man approached him.
He was a stranger, and although Aladdin didn't know it, a great magician. He said to the boy,
Would you like to become rich?
Of course, said Aladdin. One has to work to earn money, and I prefer to play. The magician smiled.
Work? What a thought. Be like me, and you will have more treasures than a king.
Sounds like a scammer. Aladdin trusted the magician and went with him. First, the man took Aladdin to a clothes merchant where he bought a magnificent outfit for him, a jacket embroidered with gold thread, a pair of shoes, and a fur hat. In those days, only the rich people wore such clothes.
This is because you have to be smartly dressed to enter the place where I will take you, said the magician as Aladdin admired the outfit.
They walked for a long time until they had crossed the entire city. Once they reached the countryside, they finally stopped right at the foot of a mountain. Aladdin looked around at the vast garden, overgrown with bushes, and was puzzled. Is it really necessary to be dressed in silk to come here? He said.
Wait and see,
answered the magician. He then took his time to light a fire, which he sprinkled with incense from a glass bottle. A thick blue smoke filled the sky as he called out,
Come down, loyal spirit, and reveal your secret.
Suddenly Aladdin felt the ground trembling under his feet, and he was terrified. He jumped back in there, right in front of him. The ground opened up. In the opening lay a square stone with a big iron ring.
It is your turn to play now, said the magician. This stone is magic, and you are the only one who can lift it. Beneath it you will find an enchanted orchid. Orchard?
It is much too heavy, complained Aladdin, who was having second thoughts about the whole affair.
What did he sign up for?
Listen, said the man. If you call out loud the name of your grandfather and your father while you pull the ring, you will have no problem lifting this stone.
The boy did as he had said, and lifted the stone. But instead of an orchard, he saw a staircase which led to a dark cave. It made him shiver. The magician explained to him,
The orchard is much farther away. First you have to go down the staircase, then across 3 halls, and finally out again by another staircase. As you can see, the stairway is too small for me, only you can go through it, but be very careful not to touch the walls as you go, or you will be struck by a bolt of lightning.
Indoors. Aladdin was still scared, but the magician gave him a ring and said,
This will act as a charm to protect you. If you do as I have said, you have nothing to fear. The second staircase leads to the orchard where you may pick all the fruit you want. But the most important thing that I want is a little lamp hidden in a secret place at the back of the orchard. Bring it to me.
Aladdin hesitated, but the man pushed him inside. He went down the stairs slowly, step by step, holding his clothes tightly around him, terrified that he might accidentally touch something and be struck by lightning. When he reached the foot of the stairs, he crossed the 3 large halls without any difficulty. The last of these led him to the foot of a second staircase. Aladdin started to climb the staircase and eventually saw a light coming from the top. Encouraged, he began to hurry. When he reached the top, he found himself in a fantastic garden with hundreds of trees full of shining fruit. However, this fruit was not meant for eating. The trees were laden with precious stones, sparkling diamonds, rich red rubies, and milky pearls. Loki, I still want to taste them. But yeah, I guess those are the shiny jewel fruits and such. Poor Aladdin thought they were made of glass, like the cheap jewelry his mother wore. Oh no! Nevertheless, he decided to pick some for her and began to fill his pockets. Then he saw the lamp standing in a hollow rock, and he remembered the reason for his visit. He stopped picking and ran towards it. Lamps like this were to be found by the thousand in the East in those days, and Aladdin did not understand why the magician wanted this one. Then he made his way back. When he made his way back, he found the stranger where he had left him.
Do you have the lamp? Perfect,
the man cried. And he held out his hand and said,
Now give it to me. It will be much easier for you to climb the last few narrow steps without the lamp.
Aladdin saw the man's eyes light up with such greed that he did not trust him.
No, thank you. I can manage perfectly well,
he answered. The magician insisted, but when he saw that Aladdin was not so easily led, he kind of was for most of this, he became very annoyed.
How dare you disobey me?
He angrily? I think he said this is missing a word, I think. It said he angrily.
This will cost you dearly.
He poured the rest of the contents of the glass bottle over the fire and uttered some words that made the ground tremble. Before Aladdin could even go one step further, the opening closed. The boy ran as fast as he could back to the stairs that led to the orchard, but that way was closed too. Is he angry?
I have been caught like a rat in a trap,
groaned the boy, and collapsed on the stairs in tears. Certain that he was destined to die all alone in this black hole, Aladdin fell asleep. For how long? That was difficult to say since no daylight came in. Man, sounds claustrophobic. When he woke up, he was starving, hungry, and very cold. He rubbed his hands together to warm them up. As he was doing so, he also rubbed the ring that the magician had given him. It did not take much rubbing before an extraordinary figure suddenly appeared from the ground. With his crooked hands, his long mustache, and his dark eyebrows, he looked very fierce.
Nevertheless, he said, I am the genie of the ring. Your wish is my command. What do you want?
Oh, this is the genie from the ring. He seems like he's from the Far East. Hi Lord Theo, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. The wine? No wine in the house right now.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well. I'm reading Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, but this book's version.
I want to get out of this place, exclaimed Aladdin.
As soon as he made his wish, it was granted. The genie vanished and the cave opened. Aladdin was delighted and leapt outside as free as a bird. Then, without losing any more time, he rushed home. When his mother saw Aladdin, she cried out with joy, My child, my darling, I thought you were dead. Where have you been all this time? Aladdin told her what had happened to him and showed her the lamp, as well as the precious stones. His mother also thought they were made of glass.
Oh, bruh, this family.
She did not give him another thought and put them in a box where they lay forgotten.
Bruh.
Hi Mr. Brown, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading this book's version of Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. Well, this book at least. Treasury of Fairy Tales. But yeah, hope you're doing well.
As for the lamp, she decided to sell it. Bread. Her starving son had eaten all the food in the house, and with this she could buy some more bread. She took a rag and polished the lamp, but 2 seconds later she dropped it on the floor and stared. A curious figure was standing in front of her, as terrifying as a demon. Nevertheless, when he spoke, he sounded very friendly.
I am the genie of the lamp, he said. Tell me your wishes and they will be granted.
So there's a genie of the ring and a genie of the lamp.
Treasury of Fairy Tales, so there's Peter Pan, Aladdin, and other fairy tales in here. This is, there's a lot of stories in here, yes. It's got these ones. Last time I read Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White and Rose Red, Hansel and Gretel, Little Match Girl, Puss in Boots, All's Well That Ends Well, The Princess and the Pea, Beauty and the Beast, Emperor's New Clothes, Rumpelstiltskin, Florinda and Joringel, Cinderella, Reynard and the Fisherman, and Rapunzel. And today, I'm gonna finish the rest of the stories. So, we already went through Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, The Little Tailor, and Tom Thumb. So now we're at Aladdin and the Magic Lamp.
Do we get say the genie of the net? I don't know about that. Imagine if I was a genie.
But it was Aladdin who spoke first. We want something to eat. As soon as his wish was made, it was granted. The genie brought bread, 2 bottles of wine, and all sorts of succulent food served on silver plates. There was enough for at least 4 meals. Is that not gonna go bad? Finishing it all today? Yeah. I think I was about halfway through after I finished last time, so these last couple of stories are probably much longer. But yeah, we're about this far into the book now. Believe me, that night Aladdin and his mother went to sleep with full stomachs. And now that they knew how to make the genie appear, they were able to ask for everything they wanted. There's no wish limit? A soft touch with a rag on the lamp of happiness, and 2 minutes later, dinner was ready. Soon they had more plates, forks, and spoons than they knew what to do with, so they decided to sell them. They were made of silver, so they sold them for a good price. At last, Aladdin and his mother had found a way to earn their living without getting tired. Bruh, infinite money hack. The genie and the lamp kept them well for many years. As Aladdin grew up, he lost his lazy attitude and took an interest in learning new things. I'm amazed he didn't stay lazy considering he doesn't need to work for money anymore. Disney Aladdin got debuffed, yeah. The rich merchants with whom he did business taught him good manners and the art of distinguishing glass from diamond. Oh, at least they were nice to him? Or maybe they were nice to him because he was giving them all the good stuff. Or selling him all the good stuff. Oh! At last he realized that the colorful fruits from the orchard were precious stones and that he and his mother were in fact rich. Were they not rich already? He was still counting all his wealth and wondering how to spend it when something happened to interrupt his thoughts. Badrur Badur. Damn. The eldest daughter of the Sultan and a princess of high rank passed by his house. I guess it's not Jasmine in this story. Followed by her servants, she went to the bathhouse. She was renowned as a great beauty, but with a fan in her hand and a veil over her face, it was impossible to say whether it was true. That's honestly interesting, probably because Aladdin wasn't that lazy of the person. Yeah, actually. There's a lot of differences in this version, for sure. Aladdin, intrigued by the princess, followed her secretly. I guess they changed her name too, because Jasmine is a lot easier to say, I guess. When they arrived at the bathhouse, Aladdin hid behind a door and stared. Oh my gosh. Aladdin, what are you doing? When the princess lifted up her veil, the young man saw the most beautiful face he had ever seen. The next second, he had fallen in love with her, bro. He ran home to his mother and told her everything. She thought he had gone mad, especially when he told her he wanted to marry the princess. Marry her? Cried the good woman. But her father is a rich sultan, and we, my child, are poor people. Not anymore, replied Aladdin. He went to look for the box in which lay the treasure from the orchard. Taking it to his mother, he ran the jewels through his fingers and said, They are real. Each diamond is worth more than all the silver plates we have sold. If you go to the palace with such a present, I am certain you will be admitted. To the palace? Cried his mother. But I would never dare to do that. What would I say to the sultan? Alright, genies, talking animals, surviving, being eaten, all fine, but a man with infinite money going to work, no. I mean, it is kind of hard to believe, right? That your son loves the princess and that he wants to marry her, replied Aladdin. Then you will lay the present at his feet. Oh, I beg you, mother, if you don't do it, I think I will die. This guy is desperate. Aladdin's mother was very frightened, but nonetheless she went to the palace the next day and knocked at the gate. She held the present close to her heart, a large cup containing precious stones and diamonds, covered with a white cloth. She was reassured to see that she was not alone. Many people came to the palace, sometimes from afar, to ask the Sultan for advice or a favor, and this happened almost every day. After a while, they were admitted one by one. Aladdin's mother sat down in a corner and waited her turn, but when it came, she felt too shy to speak and ran away. Bleh. How long was she waiting? Aladdin groaned when he saw her come back, completely confused and still carrying the gift. She promised him that the next day she would go to the Sultan again. Unfortunately, that day, the Sultan had gone out hunting, and Aladdin's mother found the palace doors shut. Her son was disappointed. He thought he was going to die of a broken heart. Bro, it's been 2 days. The third day, however, his mother did get in to see the Sultan. He received her as he was sitting on his majestic throne. Grandly, he waved her closer and she bent down low to kiss his feet. I guess this was this moment right here. What can I do for you?
What can I do for you, my good woman? He asked.
The poor woman trembled and was too scared to talk at first.
Come, what is it?
He urged. Your Highness, she finally said, I am afraid that my demand will not please your Majesty. It is so insane, so senseless.
I order you, talk,
said the Sultan, who was becoming impatient with curiosity.
Whatever you ask me, you will be forgiven.
How well, you see, she said, it is my son, Aladdin. He has seen. He wants to. But instead of finally admitting the truth, she lifted up the cloth that covered the diamonds and said, he wants to offer you this modest present. The Sultan was startled. He had never seen such wealth. Aladdin's mother took advantage of this and suddenly added, My son loves your daughter. He is deeply in love with her and wants to marry her. Then she looked down at her feet, sure that the Sultan would be furious and send her away. But not at all. The treasure had such an effect on the Sultan that he said,
Tell your son that my answer is yes, bro.
That was fast.
It was not hard to imagine Aladdin's joy that evening when his mother returned home. He was going to marry the Sultan's daughter. But the next morning he received a message from the Sultan which read,
If young Aladdin wants my daughter's hand in marriage, he will have to bring me 40 bowls filled with precious stones, pearls and diamonds carried by 40 servants.
He has changed his mind, said the mother to her son. I knew this would happen. He has found out that we are really poor. He doesn't want you to admit that he broke his promise, so he asks you for things that you can't give.
What? I know, right? There he is, the Sultan, and Aladdin's mom.
Well, that remains to be seen, replied Aladdin, when he immediately looked for his magic lamp. As soon as he rubbed it, the genie appeared.
What do you want? He said gruffly.
Aladdin told him, and 2 seconds later all the 40 servants appeared. He got the crazy eyes in this picture. Although...
Hey, there he is.
He's also on the cover. The little house suddenly became overcrowded. The servants looked splendid in their brilliant clothes, and on their heads they carried large silver bowls, filled to the brim with diamonds.
What happened to the Asian genie? Yeah, the ring one, right? I guess he's not being used at the moment.
Aladdin commanded them to go to the palace to lay their treasures at the princess's feet. Then he said to his mother, Go with them. You will bring me the Sultan's answer. When she came back from the palace after an hour, the good woman was crying. Aladdin was scared out of his wits, thinking they had failed, but she'd soon put him right. Don't look so sad, you silly. These are tears of joy, she cried. When the Sultan saw the servants arrive, he did not have a second thought, and cried out, Someone who can offer me so much wealth is worthy to marry the most beautiful princess. I'm so proud of you, my son.
Did they not say thank you to the genie? He's the reason why this is all possible.
Aladdin was thrilled. He embraced his mother and danced her around the room. There's one little thing that worries me, she said at last. The Sultan's Grand Vizier alone was not happy. His son also had hoped to marry the princess. You will have to watch this man carefully in the future.
Time to
remove the key.
Uh-oh.
But Aladdin did not listen anymore. He took the magic lamp and rubbed it. When the genie appeared, he commanded, I want to take a bath.
I was not expecting that.
He had hardly pronounced these words when he felt himself lifted by invisible hands and plunged into an immense basin overflowing with perfumed water. What a marvelous bath! How good he felt! He came out clean and soft from head to toe. Long live the Sultan!
Well, nothing's happened yet.
Then he was dressed in magnificent clothes. When his mother saw him, she cried out because he looked so handsome.
So far, we're just seeing Aladdin
getting pampered a lot.
Wouldn't it be easier to just ask the genie for the princess and skip the extra steps? Well, I guess that would be like, I don't know. I guess it didn't really occur to him to just be like, I wish to marry the princess. But I guess there's a lot of
how will it happen?
in between. Perhaps he'll have to wish for a bunch of things in addition to that.
I wish to convince her father.
And such.
Convince the kingdom.
This is only the beginning, he said, smiling.
The genie has promised me 100 servants and a horse, and for you, dear mother, 30 loyal servants.
As soon as he had said these words, everything appeared.
Bro, this is OP.
Aladdin had never ridden a horse before, but he mounted without any difficulty, for the genie had thought of everything. Damn.
This genie is OP.
To the Sultan's palace, he cried, urging the horse forward. The horse obeyed, and everyone followed him.
Are these the servants? They're just like, hey, hey, coins, hey.
Or maybe they're just random people, who knows. The people who saw this marvelous procession pass by could not believe their eyes, especially when the servants began to throw gold pieces in the air. I guess he never wished to become a prince, not like in the Disney version, where they were singing Prince Ali, Ali Baba, that part.
Long live Aladdin! Cried the crowd, picking up the money.
Then the palace doors opened wide before him. The Sultan welcomed him. He was not disappointed with the look of his future son-in-law, and neither was Badrul Budur. She looked at Aladdin from behind some screens and fell immediately in love with him. Well, at least it's mutual. She was at that time forbidden to show him her face, according to the Oriental custom in those days. She had to keep it veiled until the day they married. Aladdin talked with her father. Everything went well, and the Sultan invited the young man and his mother to a magnificent feast.
Glory to you, Aladdin, he said, raising his glass. You are worthy of my daughter, and I give you her hand in marriage. When do you want the wedding?
As soon as I have built a palace beautiful enough for her to live in.
That's gonna be super fast.
Yeah, well, that was easy.
Answered the young man.
Well spoken,
Said the Sultan, and he emptied his glass. That evening at home, Aladdin's mother declared,
Explain to me, my son, because I don't understand. For all this time you have been dreaming about just one thing, marrying the princess. Now, just as your dream comes true, you destroy everything by making a promise you can't keep. Have you gone mad?
Not at all, answered Aladdin, picking up the magic lamp.
Oh, he's about to do it. Look at him. He's hunched over. Maximum
lamp rubbing stance. Before the genie even had time to speak, Aladdin had already made his wish. A palace made entirely of marble, worthy of the princess. It should have walls decorated with diamonds, mosaic flooring, finished with everything of the finest quality, and surrounded by magnificent gardens. The genie listened, not the least surprised. When at last he spoke, it was to ask,
And where do you want this palace to be situated?
Opposite the Sultan's palace,
answered Aladdin.
Very well, said the genie, and with that,
He vanished. The next morning, the genie appeared and said to Aladdin,
your palace is built. Do you want to visit it?
Well,
Does no one think it's kind of suspicious that suddenly this
huge, ornate, lavish palace showed up in front of the Sultan's palace? The young man was stupefied with the speed, but he nodded, and a second later he was transported to the palace. It was exactly as he commanded, but 10 times larger, 10 times more astonishing, and more dazzling. When he went inside, Aladdin noticed that numerous people were already busy. Roommaids, cooks, servants, and guards, everyone made a deep bow when they saw him pass.
hope no one gets crushed by the new palace? Yeah, was there even any blank space in front of the Sultan's palace? Or did they all get overwritten and squashed?
He could see the Sultan's palace from the front window. It was right across from his, as he had wished, with a long avenue in between.
I guess there's a long avenue. But was it built like right in the middle of the city?
The princess could easily see her father every day, even after she was married. Aladdin was enchanted and thanked the genie warmly. Oh yeah, at least he said thank you, but damn. But someone in the Sultan's palace wasn't pleased. Not the princess, of course, neither her nor her father. Indeed. When they woke up, they both applauded at the sight of this miracle.
It's like, way, wow, he did it. How did he do it? Ah, we don't care.
No, the person who complained, protested, raged, and sighed was the Grand Vizier.
That palace isn't real,
He exclaimed to the Sultan.
it's a magical trick. No one can build a palace in one night. Magic or not, it's there, replied the Sultan. Thanks to Aladdin, who is rich and powerful. Whatever you think, he deserves the princess, and he will marry her tomorrow.
What was said was done. The marriage took place the next morning in the Sultan's palace, and next evening the newlyweds moved into their magnificent palace across the way.
Wow! Full spread. I guess this is Badrul Badur, and that's the Sultan, and this is Engi Vizier, and this is the fancy palace, I guess?
Is that a burb? And so began a beautiful love story. The couple adored each other more and more every day, and Aladdin's mother, who lived nearby, got along very well with Badrul Badur. Aladdin helped govern the Sultan's kingdom, and
How does he know his stuff?
maybe he could just wish for the knowledge.
I wish to be a good
Kingdom runner.
a man of the people.
And as time passed by, his subjects grew to love him more and more. Every time he went to the mosque or when he went hunting, he distributed gold pieces to the crowd. Oh, no wonder they love him. Everyone in the country spoke highly of his kindness and his generosity and his talent for keeping law and order.
He's ruining the economy. Another isekai story. But he lives here.
Isekai, but he's been here all his life. He became so well known beyond the borders, the mountains and the seas, that his name was even mentioned in Africa. Africa mentioned? There lived someone who knew him very well, but who thought he had been dead for many years.
The wicked magician.
Oh my gosh. I forgot that there was that guy. So that means there's the whole vizier angle, and there's the wicked magician angle too. He remembered the lad as if it were yesterday. If the poor Aladdin was rich now, it must be all thanks to the lamp he found in the orchard. The magician promised himself to recapture it. By means of magic, he soon arrived in the east. There, he swiftly disguised himself as a traveling merchant trading lamps. Then, finding out that Aladdin had gone hunting, he began to prowl around his palace. As he was walking, he shouted,
Who wants to exchange an old lamp for a new one?
Soon, a window in the palace opened, and a young servant appeared, waving a lamp. The magician recognized the magic lamp immediately.
How did he get his hands on it?
Oh no. He was so happy that he left 12 others in exchange for this one. The servant called out many thanks, but the magician was already gone, carrying the lamp with him.
Uh-oh. Yeah, well.
As soon as he was out of sight of the palace, he rubbed the lamp.
Command and I obey,
Declared the genie when he appeared, for he had no choice.
I want you to transport Aladdin's palace to Africa as fast as possible,
Ordered the magician,
with everything inside and all the people that work in it.
His wish was granted immediately, and just 2 minutes later, the powerful genie flew off, carrying the magician, the palace, and everything in it with him.
Oh, I thought he was just gonna teleport it, but I guess he just carried everything. Yeah, I don't know why so specifically Africa.
You can imagine poor Aladdin's face when he came home from hunting that night to find everything gone. No palace, no gardens, no furniture, no servants, and worst of all,
No wife! Uh-oh, Badrul Badur was there too.
frantic with worry, he ran like a madman to the Sultan's palace.
Oh, there you are, you crook, the Sultan cried. Where's my daughter? So the Grand Vizier was right to curse your palace, saying it was just a magical trick. Well, my fine young beggar, you have 45 days to redeem yourself. If my dear Badrul Badur still isn't back by then, you will be taken to the guillotine.
45 days is actually quite a lot. Africa is the only canon continent in this story.
Aladdin understood the Sultan's anger and decided that he had better leave.
Yeah, bro. Hi Specs, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, it's story time. It's a different version of Aladdin. It's like, I know they want to have one specific location, but like, why the choice of Africa so many times? Yeah, I don't know. They didn't even specifically say where this place is. They just said like in the east or so. But then they decided to name drop Africa as another place in this canon.
Aladdin understood the Sultan's anger and decided that he had better leave. He crossed the entire city, looking everywhere for Badrul Badur, but no one had seen her. When he said that she had disappeared together with the palace, they thought he had gone mad. He then went to the neighboring towns, and little by little, he searched the whole kingdom, but all in vain. By the 43rd day, he was so tired and so desperate that when he saw a river, he decided to end it all. Damn. Just before he reached it, he slipped and fell. Oh, wow. Now all these years, he had been wearing the magic ring and forgotten all about it.
Wait, what? How did he not accidentally rub that?
When he fell, he rubbed the thing by accident.
And the genie appeared at once, so he forgot about that magical ring. And when he was falling, like, he was suddenly like...
While he was falling?
Bruh.
Here I am. What do you want? It asked.
I want to see Badrul Badur again, cried Aladdin. The genie granted his wish on the spot, but to Aladdin's surprise, the genie took Aladdin with him to Africa.
Africa mentioned again.
There was this marvelous palace, stood like an immense green oasis in the middle of the desert. He approached the nearest window and knocked on it gently. A few seconds later, the princess herself opened it. She was so happy to see Aladdin again. She told him that she was a prisoner of the cruel magician who wanted to marry her against her will. Aladdin was beside himself with joy to see her again. Nonetheless, he was confused.
Why are you not surprised to see me here? He asked.
Last night, I saw you in a dream, replied Badrul Badur. Since then, I have been waiting for you. Come inside, I have a plan. As soon as Aladdin was safely in the palace, the beautiful girl told him her plan. At the moment, the magician is not here, she said. As soon as he comes back, you must hide. Tonight I will put a poison in his drink that a servant has bought for me. After that, it will be up to you to find us a way home again.
That shouldn't be difficult, cried Aladdin. But first we will have to find a lamp that belongs to me, and which must be in the hands of the wicked magician at this very moment.
He had hardly said this when the door slammed. Uh-oh.
Africa is probably synonymous for a faraway land you'll never see at the time.
Yeah, I think so too, yeah. I don't think a lot of people have ever really been to Africa at the time. So it's kind of like, this mysterious far-off land. But yeah, there they are. Big,
a whole new world vibes, I guess.
but not exactly.
There he is, whispered Badrul Badur. Quickly, hide yourself.
Aladdin jumped into a closed chest and she closed it after him. Oh, he peeking.
Time seemed to pass so slowly to the poor boy in his dark hiding place. Many questions went through his head, and he even wondered if Badrul Badur had miscalculated her plan. What if the deadly poison had no effect? What if the magician became suspicious and refused to drink? The more time went by, the more impatient he became and the faster his heart began to beat. Oh no.
A whole new world. Yeah. Imagine if they said America.
America.
At last, I think they were trying to go for a place that had a large, vast expanse of
area that's not populated, I guess. But who knows?
There are lots of those. There were lots of those types of places back then.
Although here, I guess they ended up in the middle of a desert somewhere in Africa.
At last, he heard footsteps and listened carefully. Did they belong to his wife or to the magician? Before he could give it another thought, the chest was opened. It was Badrul Badur, and she smiled at him. Come and see, she cried. He leapt out of the chest and walked behind her towards the dining room. There he cried out with relief. The magician lay dead on the floor, and the magic lamp stood next to him.
Well, that was fast.
I found it when I went through his pockets, explained the princess.
Now we are saved, cried Aladdin.
Then Aladdin took the lamp and rubbed it.
Why couldn't he do a little bit of this? Ask that genie to bring him back the other genie lamp. You know, but I guess I'm not sure if it'll work or not, but I feel like it could.
Aladdin took the lamp and rubbed it. In less than a second, the genie appeared. We want to return to our beautiful country, cried the happy young man. He had hardly pronounced these words when the palace and the gardens, the servants and the furniture, wife and husband were all taken up by the powerful genie and flown back home. When the Sultan opened the grand palace shutters the next morning, a marvelous sight greeted his astonished eyes. He was beside himself with joy when he saw that Aladdin's palace had returned. He didn't care a bit when the obstinate vizier repeated that it was just a magical trick. The Sultan just hurried off to see his daughter. Later on that day, the great feast was organized to celebrate Badrulbadur's and Aladdin's return, and if, amongst the laughter, one could sometimes hear some deep sighs, no one was surprised. It was only the Grand Vizier.
I guess here, Jafar, or the Vizier,
Got super nerfed. I think the main antagonist here was really the magician dude.
It's just like Green Lantern and how technically everyone can make black hole
Concept 2 OP, thus debuffed a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine why they changed it up quite a bit.
In the Disney version and stuff.
But yeah, that was Aladdin. And I feel like it was so OP. He didn't even utilize all of the things he had to its full potential. Like, they keep forgetting about Ring Genie, and he wears it all the time. And if he wears it all the time, how does he not accidentally rub it? You know? But yeah. Hi Shuckle, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading some more fairy tales.
And we just finished well,
I've read Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, The Little Tailor, Tom Thumb, and we just finished Aladdin and the Magic Lamp just now.
it was a pretty interesting version.
Quite a few holes though. Plot holes, maybe. Or things to think about. Like, why didn't they do this instead? You know? But still, it was a nice time. Now, we're gonna read The Firebird, which was written by... Oh, it's a Russian folktale. Interesting. There's the Firebird. Kinda looks like a peacock.
Far away from here, beyond 3 times 9 countries in a 3 times 10 kingdom.
What's that supposed to mean? 3 times 9 countries? 27 countries?
3 times 10 kingdom in a 30 kingdom? What does that even mean?
Lived a Tsar called Vislav. Hi OP Gamer, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I don't know if I appreciate the wording there, but I'm having a lot of fun reading this collection of fairy tales, Treasury of Fairy Tales. Yeah. We're reading The Firebird now, which is a Russian folktale.
The Tsar had 3 sons. The first one was called Vasily, the second one Dmitri, and the third one Ivan. The Tsar's palace was surrounded by such a beautiful garden that no one in the world had ever seen one like it. In this garden grew all kinds of rare trees, trees with flowers and trees full of fruit. The Tsar's favorite tree was an apple tree which grew golden apples.
It's just a Russian saying in fairy tales. Oh, really?
At night, a marvelous bird always appeared in the garden. It was the Firebird with golden feathers and diamond eyes. It would perch on the favorite tree, pick at the apples, and fly away. Tsar Vislav was distressed to see his wonderful golden apples disappearing day after day. He called his sons and said,
"My dear children, which one of you will catch the Firebird? The one who catches it will receive half of my kingdom now, and inherit the other half after my death."
The princess cried, "Dear father, it will be our pleasure to try and catch the Firebird." The first night, Prince Vasily went to the garden to watch for the bird. He sat down under the golden apple tree, but it wasn't long before he fell asleep. He did not hear the Firebird come, and it ate a great many apples while he slept. The next morning, Vislav called Prince Vasily, asking,
"Well, my son, did you see the Firebird?"
The prince answered, "No, my most royal father. It did not come last night." The following night, Prince Dmitri went to watch for the bird. He made himself comfortable under the golden apple tree as his brother had done. There he is. He stayed up 1 hour, 2 hours, then he fell into a deep sleep. A sleep so deep that he did not hear the bird arrive either. The next morning, the Tsar called Prince Dmitri, asking,
"Well, my son, did you see the Firebird?"
Oh, that's a typo.
"No, my most loved royal father. It did not come,"
replied Dmitri. The third night, Prince Ivan kept watch in the garden. He sat down under the apple tree and waited. 1 hour went by, then 2, then 3. Suddenly, the whole garden began to glow. The Firebird had arrived. It perched on the apple tree and started to peck at the apples. Ivan approached it so quietly that he was able to grab the bird's tail. However, he could not catch the marvelous bird. It slipped out of his hands and flew away. Only one single feather remained in his fingers.
Whoa, it's so pretty though.
The colors. The next morning, as soon as the Tsar woke up, Prince Ivan went to his father and gave him the feather. It shone with such fire that it could have lit up a dark hall as well as 1,000 candles. Vislav was satisfied that Ivan had taken at least a feather from the beautiful bird, and it was kept under guard in his palace. However, from then on, the bird never returned to the garden. One day, the Tsar called his sons again and said,
My dear children, I give you my blessing. Set off to find the firebird. The one who brings it back alive will receive half of my kingdom now, and inherit the other half after my death.
Princess Vasily and Dmitri had been jealous of their younger brother ever since he had seized the marvelous feather. They left together, refusing to take Ivan with them. He was all set to go by himself to search for the firebird, but his father said to him,
My dear son, you are young and not used to long and difficult journeys. Why don't you stay with me? I feel I am getting old. What if I died while all three of you were away? Who would reign in my place?
Although the Tsar, who was very anxious to keep his youngest son at home, in the end he had to let him go. Ivan asked his father for his blessing, chose a horse, and set off on his quest.
This kind of reminds me of a Filipino folk tale. It's called Ibong Adarna.
It's kind of similar, not gonna lie. He rode for a long time, a very long time. At last, one day, he arrived at a huge grassland where there was a stone on which there was a strange message. It read,
The one who continues straight ahead will be hungry and cold. The one who turns right will stay sane and safe, but his horse will be killed. The one who turns left will be killed, but his horse will stay alive.
Ivan turned right. As long as I stay sane and safe, I can easily replace my horse, he thought.
E1? E1? Oh, which part is E1? Oh, Ivan? Oh, okay. I guess that's the proper way to say it. I've always been saying Ivan. I guess I've been saying it wrong, I guess. But or maybe the English anglicized version of the name. Or is Ivan also wrong? Because I know people with that name, and we always called them Ivan, I guess. But I guess I'm a bit conflicted. Should I change it to Ewan, or should I just stick with Ivan? He rode for a whole day. Then the following day, on the third day, he met a large gray wolf.
The beast said,
You've made it as far as here, Prince.
Ewan? Ivan?
However, you read on the stone that your horse must die. This time has come.
Oh no!
Having said this, the wolf killed and ate the horse, then he disappeared. Ivan/Ewan was very upset at the loss of his horse. He wept for a while, then continued his journey on foot. He walked the whole day, and then, overcome with fatigue, he sat down to rest. The wolf joined him again and said,
I feel sorry, Prince Ivan/Ewan. I'm sorry I ate your good horse and you are forced to walk. Come, climb on my back and I will take you where you wish.
Ivan/Ewan explained to the wolf the purpose of his journey. Then the wolf began to run faster than any horse. After some time, in the dark night, he stopped in front of a huge stone wall.
Go on, Prince Ivan/Ewan,
the wolf said. Climb up the wall.
On the other side, there's a garden where you will see the firebird. Take the bird, but don't touch the cage, or misfortune will befall you.
Ivan climbed the wall, delighted at the wolf's words. He took the firebird out of its cage, but then said to himself, Why should I take the bird without its cage? How am I supposed to carry it? So he seized the cage, but at the same time, a loud alarm echoed through the garden.
Hi, Uncle. Welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading The Firebird right now.
Pretty sure it's canonically Iwan, with the emphasis on the second syllable.
Okay, then. I guess I'll go with that then, since Ivan is wrong. Okay. So he sees the cage, but at the same time, a loud alarm echoed through the garden. Oh! There's the wolf! Alright, here we go. So I guess all this time, I've been saying the name wrong my entire life. Oh well. Or maybe... I guess I feel conflicted since I know people with that name. And it's how I know it was said. But I guess for the sake of this story, it's supposed to be said in that way. So I'll just continue with that version then. Immediately the guards woke up, caught Iwan, and took him to the king, who is called Dolmat.
He was furious and shouted,
Aren't you ashamed of coming here to steal from me? Who is your father and what is your name?
The prince answered, I am the son of Tsar Vizlav, and my name is Iwan. Your firebird used to come to our garden every night and snatch golden apples from my father's favorite tree, stripping and damaging it. The Tsar sent me to search for the bird. I promised I would take it to him.
Tell me, young prince, do you think you have acted honestly? Said Dolmat. If you had come and asked me, I would have given you the bird. Instead, you tried to steal from me. If I were to spread the word in all the kingdoms about your behavior, what would they think of you? Now listen, Ivan. If you carry out the task I set you, I will forgive you and give you the firebird to take to your father. You must go to a faraway kingdom. There you will find King Afron and take from him his horse with the golden mane. If you don't bring it back for me, I will tell everyone that you are a thief.
Yeah, that one time he nailed it. I guess I just feel bad because there is someone who comes to visit the streams, and I've been saying his name wrong this whole time, but he never said it was wrong. So I guess I just feel really bad about it.
Sadly, Prince Ivan left King Dolmat, promising to find and bring to him the horse with the golden mane. Ivan went and found his friend the Grey Wolf and told him what the king had said.
Ah, Prince Ivan, said the wolf. Why didn't you listen to me? If you had not touched the cage, none of this would have happened.
I have made a big mistake, admitted Ivan.
Well, what is done, said the wolf. Climb on my back and I will take you where you have to go.
Ivan climbed onto the Grey Wolf's back and it set off as fast as lightning. After a long journey, they arrived in King Afron's far-off kingdom. The wolf stopped in front of the magnificent palace stables.
Listen to me, Ivan, he said. Go inside, the guards are all asleep. Take the horse with the golden mane, but don't touch the golden reins that are hanging on the wall, or misfortune will surely befall you.
Ivan slipped into the stable. He was just about to leave with the horse with the golden mane when he saw the reins hanging on the wall. The temptation to take them was so strong that once again he disobeyed the wolf.
Bruh.
He took down the reins and immediately there was a deafening noise that woke up the guards. They seized Ivan and brought him to the king Afron, who was very angry, and asked,
What country are you from? Who is your father and what is your name?
I am the son of Tsar Vizlav and my name is Iwan, replied the miserable youth.
Young prince, said King Afron, does it suit a royal warrior to do what you have done? If you had come to ask me, I would have been honored to give you the horse with the golden mane. Instead, you steal from me. If I were to spread the word in all the kingdoms about your behavior, what would they think of you? Now listen, Prince Iwan. If you carry out the task I set you, I will forgive you and give you both the horse with the golden mane and the golden reins. You must go to a kingdom far away and search for Princess Helen the Beautiful.
What a name.
I have loved her for a long time, but I have not been able to win her heart. Bring her here or I will lock you up as thief.
Bleh. I guess those are the reins.
Ivan promised King Afron Ivan. God, I'm so sorry.
I'm pretty confident it's pronounced Ivan. According to Dr. 86, the correct way to say it is Ivan. Like the canon way. So I'm trying to unlearn everything that I've habitually been saying about how I've been habitually saying it. Since I did have like schoolmates named Ivan, and we all call them Ivan and stuff. It's my first time, I guess, so I apologize that it's kind of difficult for me to say it naturally. I'm doing my best because I don't want to like bother people who, you know, who feel like it should be said this way. Ivan promised King Afron that he would bring him the princess. Then he left the palace to rejoin the Grey Wolf.
Ah, young prince, exclaimed the wolf. Why didn't you listen to me? Why did you take the golden reins?
I have made another big mistake, said Ivan.
Well, what is done, said the wolf. Climb on my back and I will take you where you have to go.
At least the wolf's really nice in this one. Hi Rombies, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hey, story time so chill. I'm glad you're enjoying. Yeah, I'm just reading some fairy tales from this book. Part 2, I guess. We're going through the rest of the stories today. Ivan climbed on his back and the wolf left at full speed. After a long journey, they arrived in the beautiful Princess Helen's kingdom. The wolf set Ivan down in front of the golden gate of a magnificent garden. Then he said,
Wait for me in the grassland under the big oak tree.
Ivan did as he was told, while the wolf remained in front of the golden gate. At sunset, Princess Helen the Beautiful, surrounded by her servants, went into the garden. When she passed close by the Grey Wolf, he jumped over the gate, seized her, and ran back to Ivan. The wolf told him to jump quickly onto his back behind Helen the Beautiful, and they set off at once in the direction of King Afron's palace. During the journey, Prince Ivan and Princess Helen fell in love with each other. Uh-oh. When they arrived at the king's palace, Ivan burst into tears.
Why are you crying? Asked the wolf.
Why shouldn't I cry, Grey Wolf, my dear friend? I love Helen the Beautiful, and now I have to give her to King Afron in exchange for the horse with the golden mane. I guess only the beginning part with the bird is similar to the local folk tale we have, Ibong Adarna. This part's pretty different.
I have helped you through many difficulties, and I will help you again, said the wolf. I will change into the princess, bruh. You will take me to the king and receive the horse with the golden mane. When I know you are far enough away, think of me so I can turn back into a wolf and rejoin you.
Oh, we're scamming. Having said this, the wolf took form of the beautiful princess. The king was beside himself with joy when Ivan brought him the wolf disguised as Princess Helen the Beautiful. Immediately, he handed over the horse with the golden mane to the prince. It's okay. Ivan isn't even the hardest name to pronounce and doesn't sound like something very wrong if mistaken. You mean Ivan or Ivan? Ivan. I'm not gonna argue, but I just read into the etymology of it to make sure. Oh, I appreciate it, Chapo. Thank you. I guess I've just been it's a bit hard for me because I'm so used to saying it as Ivan in all my years. Hi, Gwa. Welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. And I guess I'm just thinking if it's truly wrong to say Ivan, or if it's like truly unacceptable to say it that way, because I've never heard it said that way, I guess. But that might be because I'm not really from Russia or Russian. So I'm always open to being educated about stuff, but yeah, if it that's why I have a bit of I have to pause a little bit so that I can like consciously change the way I say it, because as I've said, it's a habit I guess to say it that way. But yeah, I hope you're doing well, Gwa. Thank you for tuning in. I'm reading The Firebird right now. But yes, let's see. As I've said, I don't want it to distract really too much, so I'm doing my best. But as I've said, since Dr. 86 spoke up about it, I figured I'd try to say it the right way. Since he's saying that that's the right way to say it for this story. So yeah, I don't want to bother anyone. I'm just gonna do my best. Let's see. The king was beside himself with joy when Ivan brought him the wolf disguised as Princess Helen the Beautiful. Immediately he handed over the horse with the golden mane to the prince. Then Ivan mounted this horse, took Helen the Beautiful up before him, and set off for King Dolmat's kingdom. Ivan and Helen talked to each other as they rode, forgetting all about the rest of the world. At last, Ivan thought, "Where is my good grey wolf?" Suddenly the wolf appeared before him and said, "Climb on my back, Prince Ivan, and leave the horse with the golden mane to the princess." The prince obeyed, and they continued their journey to King Dolmat's kingdom. They stopped when they were 3 miles from the city.
"Listen, Grey Wolf, would you do me a favor one more time?" asked Ivan. "It would be the last one. Would you disguise yourself as the horse with the golden mane for King Dolmat? I would so much like to keep him."
The Grey Wolf at once did as he was asked. Bro, the Grey Wolf is the MVP for this one for sure.
Then Ivan left Helen the Beautiful in a meadow while he went to meet the king. Dolmat was overcome with joy to see Ivan on the fine horse.
Hi Kitty Cat, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading some more fairy tales and such. This one is the Firebird.
He welcomed him gladly, then gave Ivan the Firebird in its golden cage. The young prince left the city to rejoin Helen the Beautiful. They both climbed onto the real horse with the golden mane and took the road to Tsar Vislav's kingdom.
I'm good, cool outfit. I'm glad you like it. I found it to I guess dress appropriately for this for this book reading, since we're doing fairy tales.
A little further on, Prince Ivan thought,
"Where is my good grey wolf?"
Once again, the wolf caught up with them and invited Prince Ivan to climb on his back.
Hi Tris, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading some fairy tales
From this book, Treasury of Fairy Tales.
I'm currently reading The Firebird.
When they arrived at the spot where the wolf had killed the prince's horse, the faithful beast stopped and looked at the young man.
"I've been your loyal servant, Prince
Ivan," he said.
Sorry, I'm
doing my best.
okay.
It was here where I killed your horse, and it is here where I must leave you. Go now and where you have to go. I will not serve you any longer."
Aw, goodbye, Wolfie.
The grey wolf disappeared, and Ivan wept for a while because he was very sad to lose his dear friend.
Sorry, no, it's okay. I mean, I guess it's sort of the thing where it's kind of tough when it feels like the way I've been saying it is kind of different from what it's supposed to be, I guess. Now I am curious if like Ivan is truly not
An acceptable way to say it.
my wolf brother. Yeah, he really helped out in this story. But yeah, I guess
Okay, my thought process was like, if the pronunciation of the name is more important than the flow of me trying to say it properly, then I will do my best to pronounce it right.
So yeah. But if it's kind of okay to say it the way that I usually have grown to say it,
Then I can probably read it more smoothly.
I guess it's a give or take at this point.
The grey wolf disappeared, and Ivan wept for a while because he was very sad to lose his dear friend. And Ivan and Helen the Beautiful continued their journey. They were almost at Vislav's kingdom when they stopped for a rest. They tied the horse under a tree, lay down on the soft grass, and fell asleep. The cage containing the firebird stood on the grass next to them. Now, while Ivan had been having his many adventures, Prince Dmitri and Prince Vasily had been wandering around endless kingdoms without finding anything. Now they were returning empty-handed to their father. By chance, the two cruel princes passed by the place where Ivan and Princess Helen were asleep. When they saw the marvelous horse and the magnificent firebird, they were overcome with rage and jealousy. Uh-oh. They attacked their brothers and woke up the beautiful princess, who was terrified. Through her sobs, she cried, "I am known as Helen the Beautiful. Prince Ivan brought me here. If you had been honorable warriors, you would have offered him a fair fight, but you have killed a man while he was sleeping. That is as despicable as striking someone who is unharmed."
They killed him? Bro.
Then Prince Dmitri threatened the princess with his sword.
"Listen, Helen the Beautiful," he said. "You are coming with us to our father, the Tsar Vizlav. You will tell him that we won you, together with the horse with the golden mane and the firebird. If you don't tell him this, we will kill you."
The two princes then drew straws to see which of them would marry the princess. Prince Vasily won. He lifted her onto his horse while Prince Dmitri took the golden cage and set off the horse with the golden mane.
How dare they attack the brother? And they killed him, bro.
They're so jealous. Prince Ivan, who had been left for dead by his wretched brothers, lay on the ground for 30 days. As luck would have it, the grey wolf came by, and when he recognized the young prince, he vowed to save his life.
You could do that?
The wolf caught the crow and promised never to hurt it if it would fly to the sacred well far away. The crow flew away and eventually came back after 3 days. He carried with him a flask filled with magic water. The grey wolf sprinkled Ivan with the water. At once, the prince woke up and said, "Ah, I have slept for such a long time."
"Without me, you would have remained in an eternal sleep," said the wolf. "Your brothers have taken Princess Helen the Beautiful, the horse with the golden mane, and the firebird to your father."
Oh, thank you so much for the raid, Ito. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. I hope you had a nice stream. Welcome in, raiders. Welcome. Yeah, the wolf is such an MVP for this one. Oh, thank you for following. Thank you.
I'm reading some fairy tales from Treasury of Fairy Tales.
Yeah, life's good. Yeah, hi. Welcome in.
I have hand cam on because there's like illustrations. I'm currently reading The Firebird.
It's a Russian folk tale.
But yeah,
hi to those new here. I am Salome. I am you can call me Say. I'm a Star Fox VTuber, a variety streamer. I do games, music, and art stuff.
And today I thought I'd try. Well, this is part 2 of book reading. It's my first book that I'm trying a book reading stream with, and it's this book.
I'm basically this far in with the compilation of fairy tales. Yeah. Oh, if anyone needs to go rest, please feel free to go rest, or if you need to take care of things as well, that's totally cool.
Let me shout you out as well. Hold on.
There you go. That's too funny. I'm a writer and doing arc in October. Was drawing trees today. Oh, I see. I hope you had a nice time. I hope you had a nice time with art. Hi, Marco. Welcome back to the stream. Yes, good afternoon. Like your keyboard. Would like to see a glimpse of the setup.
Sure. Why not?
Well, this is.
Oh, I'm using this little pouch doggo to help me prop up the book.
But this is my keyboard. It's Cherry Blossom and Japan themed.
I also have Cherry Blossom Japan themed mouse pad.
I guess my setup is mostly pink, white, and black. This is my mouse. I put it on the side to make room for my book. Hi Bennett, hi Martin, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. That was kind of a weird day off because premiered my horror stories YouTube channel, so most of the stream was making sure that it went well. It failed. Oh no! Yeah, it truly is like the streaming experience. The scuff. You never truly escape from the scuff. I hope things go smoothly next time though.
It also took me some time to figure out
how I wanted to do the setup for today's stream last week. Thankfully, I figured it out. But yeah. So we are here. Wolfie has saved the prince.
the good prince.
Without me, you would have remained in an eternal sleep, said the wolf. Your brothers have taken Princess Helen the Beautiful, the horse with the golden mane, and the firebird to your father. Now hurry home, because your brother Vasily is going to marry the beautiful princess today. Climb quickly on my back, I will take you there.
Ivan climbed on the grey wolf's back, and they arrived soon at Vislav's palace. His brother Prince Vasily, who was about to marry Helen the Beautiful, stood beside her. Uh-oh. Time to crash, I guess. Yes, back to the story. I was like, I have all these plans for promoting, then I logged out of TikTok and couldn't log back in, was gonna drop it prior to try to drive traffic. I tried on Reddit and all my posts got removed for self-promotion, even though they didn't contain links, and only asked the difference of opinion on B-roll video versus static images on narrative stories. I guess it's pretty rough to do self-promo, especially in spaces where maybe it's not encouraged to do so, unfortunately. I do wish you luck though, I hope things work out.
Oh, we're almost done with this one. When Ivan entered, the princess ran towards him, embraced him, and cried, "This is the man I am to marry. It is Prince Ivan. Ivan. Not the scoundrel who is with me at this table."
Scoundrel.
Then Tsar Vislav stood up and questioned the princess, who told him the true story. Vislav was enraged and threw his 2 elder sons into a deep dungeon. Prince Ivan married Princess Helen the Beautiful that very day. They lived in perfect harmony and never were parted again.
Ugh, I made it. Alright. She was gonna be forced to marry an ugly prince, but now, thankfully,
all is right again.
Just the way you pronounce the name Ivan is really quite charming. Really, I'm glad you think so. I've always pronounced it as Ivan. I actually knew some people named Ivan. That's why that was my default. But then, thanks to Dr. 86, he told me that the canon way to say it is Ivan. So I did my best. I did my best to do it, but I did my best to change how I said it for the story, since I didn't want to bother people with how I pronounced it. Hiya, hello, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice evening. I'm reading some fairy tales. In Russian, E and I are not interchangeable, but you are reading in English, so anyway, it's fine. Oh. Why you tell me now when I finish the story? But yeah, thank you for letting me know though. Thank you for the bits too. How's the storytelling going? It's going good. Just a bit of I guess, stuff about pronunciation. Better late than never, the last sentence. Well, I already read it, oh well. But yeah. I guess, here, at least for us. Well, I don't know, cause even the Ivan, well, I've always called him Ivan. When he showed up in my stream chats all these past years, he never really told me that I was saying it wrong. So I guess that's why, it's really, I was really fighting my habits here. You're looking very stunning. I'm glad you enjoy the setup today. I actually meant to use this stream background for last time, but I was a bit still figuring out the setup. So hopefully today, less scuff. So yes, that was the Firebird. This next one is called Ricky Tufty Head. But yeah, I was thinking since it's the anglicized or English version, I thought maybe the way I've been saying it all my life isn't wrong. At least I hope. Cause oh gosh, I'll have to correct that if it's completely wrong. Ivan the Terrible. Oh yeah, there was that character, right? Or not character, that person. That person in history. That I think was also in Fate as a servant. I am from Russia, and Ivan is a fairly common name. Yeah, I think so too. Case in point, well, I called him Ivan, but I guess the right way to say his name is Ivan. The one who shows up on my stream chat sometimes. He's from Russia. Okay, we're down to our last 3 stories. Ricky Tufty Head by Christian Perrault. Once upon a time, there was a queen who gave birth to a son so ugly, oh no, that it seemed doubtful whether he was human. Wow. A fairy who was present at his birth declared that everyone would like him because he would be very intelligent. She added that, by virtue of the gift she was going to give him, he could give as much intelligence as he had to the person he loved the most. All this consoled the poor queen a little, and no sooner had the child started to talk than he said 1,000 nice words. Whoa, that's a lot. Yeah, that poor boy. People get used to it. You probably wouldn't get too mad if people read your nickname like Salami. I'm not really okay with being called Salami, honestly. I guess it really depends on if the person is okay with it. It's not really it's a person to person kind of thing. I mean, if your name was Ivan and the Ivan that I knew didn't seem mad about it or didn't try to correct me, so it was okay with him. But for me, please don't call me Salami. But yeah, it's a person to person thing. I would say maybe don't decide what is okay with someone for yourself. It's always good to make sure. And I guess maybe if your name was Ivan, and maybe that's why, or Ivan, maybe is that why you were so particular about the pronunciation? Because maybe I can understand that then. All this consoled the poor queen a little. 1,000 nice words. In everything he did, there was something very witty which people thought were very charming. Oh, there he is. With his baby rattle, I guess? I forgot to say that he came into the world with a little tuft of hair on his head, which led to his nickname, Ricky Tufty Head. Whoa, look at that. It looks like a croissant. 6 or 7 years later, the queen of a neighboring kingdom gave birth to 2 girls. Oh, thank you for the stretch, Pilsen. Thank you. And thank you for the hydrate. Don't forget to hydrate, you guys. On top of calling him ugly, they also gave him the name Tufty Head. Yeah, they were not doing him any favors. Two girls. The first girl was more beautiful than the day, and the queen was delighted. However, the same fairy who had attended the birth of little Ricky Tufty Head was present, and to bring her down to earth, she declared that this little princess might be beautiful, but she would have no intelligence whatsoever. Man, the world balances itself out somehow. This news upset the queen badly, but a few moments later she was even more shocked, for the second child she gave birth to was ugly, as the first was beautiful.
Do not worry, madam, said the fairy. Your daughter will be so intelligent that her lack of beauty will almost remain unnoticed.
But there's no in-between.
So be it, answered the queen. But is it not possible to give my elder daughter even a little intelligence? I cannot do anything for her as far as intelligence is concerned, said the fairy. But I will give her the power to make anyone beautiful whom she wishes.
Bro, she can solve all the problems of her siblings. Hi Willow, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, ugh. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, oh no. She's gonna be a... Yeah, probably. No, it's not red as salami. As I've mentioned before, it's salami. So you can call me Say. You're my Say for life or you'll remain ugly. Well, we'll see what happens. What if she's too dumb to think of that?
As these two princesses grew up, their qualities grew with them, and everywhere in the land the people talked about the incredible beauty of the elder princess and the astonishing intelligence of the younger. It is also true that their faults progressed with their age. The younger princess became visibly uglier, and the elder became more stupid from day to day. Oh no! Furthermore, she was so clumsy that she could not arrange china ornaments on the mantelpiece without breaking one. Neither could she drink a glass of water without spilling half of it. Bro, that sounds such a...
That sounds like such a hassle.
Although good looks may be a great advantage to a young person, the younger girl almost always had the better of her elder sister in any company. People always admired her, but they were always more interested in what the intelligent princess had to say. Although the elder princess was quite stupid, she noticed this and was often very lonely.
No! Excuse me.
Indeed, she would have given all her beauty without a moment's hesitation in order to have even half the intelligence of her sister.
Yeah, this story is pretty mean. It's cruel. Yeah.
The queen, although she knew it was not fair, could not help reproaching her elder daughter for her stupidity, which made the poor princess so unhappy she almost wished she were dead.
Bro! It's not her fault.
One day, when she had run into the woods to cry over her misfortune by herself, she saw a little man coming towards her. He was very ugly and unattractive, but magnificently dressed. Of course, it was the young prince, Ricky Tuftyhead.
I can't with his name, bro.
He had fallen in love with the princess from her portraits that were spread throughout the world, and had left his father's kingdom so that he could see her and talk to her.
Oh.
What? He has a picture of her? What the heck? That time I got reincarnated into a dumb person. The thing is, none of these stories are isekai. So it's literally what they were given. Unfortunately.
Delighted to meet her here all alone, he approached her with all due respect and all the politeness imaginable. After he had paid her the conventional compliments, he noticed that she was extremely unhappy.
I do not understand how a princess as lovely as you can be as sad as you appear to be,
He said.
I have seen countless numbers of lovely girls in my life, but I can tell you truthfully that I have never seen in all of my travels one whose beauty compares to yours.
It is very kind of you to say so, sir, replied the princess. Ricky Tuftyhead continued.
Beauty brings so many advantages that it is the most important gift of all, and if one has been given it, I do not see that there is nothing to cry about, or anything to cry about.
I would rather be ugly as you are and be intelligent, said the princess, than to have my beauty and yet be as stupid as I am.
I cannot believe that you are stupid, said Ricky. Indeed, often clever people don't believe they have any intelligence at all. I think it is the nature of that gift that the more intelligent the person is, the more he thinks he is not.
I don't know about that, said the princess, but I do know that I am extremely stupid.
She's so self-aware.
That is why I am so miserable I could die.
Wise words from Head Tufty, yeah.
If that is the only reason for your misery, I can easily put an end to your unhappiness, declared Ricky.
And how would you do that? Asked the princess.
I have the power to give intelligence to the person whom I love, he replied. And as you are this person, I see no reason why you should not have as much intelligence as it is possible to have, providing that you will marry me.
Oh, interesting. Would you choose a beautiful woman but dumb, or an ugly woman with a very kind heart? Kind heart all the way. I mean, a good personality really it goes a long way. I think. And it's not so easy to change that, you know?
The princess was completely dumbfounded and could not think of what to say.
I can understand,
continued Ricky Tuftyhead. Look at that tuft.
Why my proposal has confused you, and I'm not surprised. So listen, I will give you a whole year to think about it.
Damn.
The princess had so little intelligence, but at the same time desired it so much, and as the end of the year was so far away, she accepted the prince's proposal. She had no sooner promised Ricky Tuftyhead that she would marry him on the same day, that the following year, then she felt completely different. Suddenly, she found she could say everything she wanted in a subtle, effortless, and utterly natural manner. As soon as she started to have a grown-up and entertaining conversation with Ricky Tuftyhead, in which she shone so brilliantly that he wondered if he had given her more intelligence than he had kept for himself. Damn!
She's unstoppable now.
I can fix your problem if marry me.
Trick question. True beauty is what lies inside a person's soul. Exactly. I think a kind heart is truly beautiful.
When she returned to the palace, no one knew what to think of such a sudden and extraordinary change.
Oh no, is that her sister?
She talked as much sense now as she had talked nonsense before, and everything she said was extremely sensible and very witty. The whole court was more delighted than you can imagine. Only her younger sister was not happy with the change. Because she no longer had the advantage of intelligence over her beautiful elder sister. She merely seemed dreadfully ugly. Oh no. The king asked his advisors for guidance about how to deal with this new state of affairs, and held council meetings in his apartments, but all in vain. The news of this transformation having spread abroad, all the young princes of neighboring kingdoms tried their best to win the heart of the beautiful and intelligent princess, and almost all of them asked for her hand in marriage. In her turn, she did not find any of them intelligent enough, and she listened to them all without becoming attracted to any one of the hopeful suitors. However, one day there came a prince who was so powerful, rich, intelligent, and handsome that she could not help feeling attracted to him. Damn. When her father became aware of this, he told her that she was quite free to choose her husband without interference from him or his ministers, and that she only had to make up her mind. Damn.
What if I sell my soul to the devil for gambling? That's a different story. What if I'm a replicant and don't have a soul? Dun, dun, dun. Uh-oh. I don't know.
Perhaps it's a loophole.
Why is half of this story just pointing out her and her sister being stupid or ugly? Apparently, that is this story.
The more intelligent one is, however, the more difficult it becomes to make a firm decision on such an important matter. After thanking her father for allowing her freedom of choice, she asked for some time to think it over. It so happened that she went for a walk in the same forest where she had met Ricky Tuftyhead. She meant to consider in peace and quiet what she would decide to do. Full spread!
Whoa.
Not sure what the context is for this yet?
Oh wait, I think I remember.
Bless your soul.
Oh no.
While she was walking there, deep in thought, she heard muffled noises under her feet, as if several people were coming and going and rushing around. After listening more carefully, she'd heard them say, "Bring me that pot.
Give me that copper pan. Put some wood on this fire."
At the same time, the ground opened up before her, and she saw at her feet a huge kitchen full of cooks, kitchen boys, and all kinds of people preparing a magnificent banquet. A group of about 20 or 30 cooks left the crowded kitchen and went to a tree-lined path where they settled around a long table and started working to the rhythm of a song. The princess, amazed by this spectacle, asked them for whom they worked.
"Madam," replied one of the group, "we work for Prince Ricky Tuftyhead, whose wedding takes place tomorrow."
The princess was even more surprised at that, but she suddenly remembered at this very day, a year ago, she promised to marry Ricky Tuftyhead, and she nearly fainted on the spot.
Uh-oh. Oh, is this a servant guy?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna cook piggy, yeah?
She had not remembered this promise because when she made it, she was still a fool. But after Prince Ricky Tuftyhead gave her intelligence, she had completely forgotten all her rash promises. She had not taken 30 steps further when Ricky himself bowed before her, elegant, magnificent, and like a prince who was to be married.
"Madam," he said, "I have kept my word, and I have no doubt you came here to keep yours, to make me the happiest man in the world by giving me your hand in marriage."
"I honestly confess," replied the princess, "that I have not yet come to a decision on the matter, and I doubt if I ever will be able to decide in the way that you wish."
"You surprise me," Ricky said.
Damn that tuft.
"I believe you," she answered, "and truly if I had to deal with an unreasonable and stupid man, I would be very embarrassed. He would say that the word of a princess was her word of honor, and that I should marry him because I had promised it. But since you are the most intelligent man in the world, I'm sure you will understand. You remember that, even when I was a fool, I could not decide to marry you right away. The intelligence you gave me then has made me even more careful,
But how can you expect me to make a decision today, which I could not make then?
If that is true that a man without intelligence would have the right to reproach you for breaking your promise, why then won't you permit me to do the same?
Replied Ricky Tuftyhead.
Is it fair that people with intelligence are worse off than the ones with none? How can you agree with this, you who has so much, and who so greatly wish to have it?
This bird just like listening and watching to everything. We'll be more clear with character sheets with intelligence and charisma. Yeah, oh no. Thingy design with the tuft one. No! Not happening. Imagine if there was an asset for that. I wonder. Oh, hold on. Let me reset my camera a bit. Okay. Yes, we're good. Okay.
But let us get to the point, please. Apart from my ugliness, is there something else about me that displeases you? Are you unhappy with my birth and pedigree, my intelligence, my character, or my manners?
Nothing at all, answered the princess. I like everything about you.
If that is true, continued Ricky Tuftyhead, you can make me the most handsome man in the world.
How can that be done? Asked the princess.
It will be done, answered Ricky, if you love me enough to wish it to happen. I know that at your birth the same fairy who gave me the power to give intelligence to the person I love also gave you the power to make the one you love become beautiful.
If that is the case, said the princess, I wish with all my heart that you become the most handsome prince in the world, the whole wide world. I give you as much of this gift as I can. No sooner had the princess pronounced these words than Ricky Tuftyhead appeared in her eyes to be the most handsome, the finest, and the most magnificent man she had ever seen. Some people claim that the fairy spell had nothing to do with this and that true love was the only reason for this change.
I don't know. Seemed kinda instant.
They say that the princess marveled at her lover's perseverance, on his discretion, and on all the good qualities of his soul and his mind, and therefore no longer saw his deformed body nor his ugly face. They say that his hunched back seemed to her no more than the easy, cheerful manner of a man who shrugs his shoulders, and that where before she saw his awkward limp, it now appeared to her as if he had just leaned in a rather charming manner.
Damn. Is this all just Love is Blind now?
They also say that his squinting eyes only seemed more amazing to her, that their crookedness appeared to her to be a sign of the intensity of his love for her, and that his big red nose seemed to her quite manly and heroic. Whatever the truth of the matter, the princess promised to marry him on the spot, provided he obtained the consent of her father, the king. Well, that was easy. The king knew that his daughter had a lot of respect for Ricky Tuftyhead, and having heard from reliable sources that he was a very intelligent and sensible prince, he gladly accepted him as his son-in-law.
What about the sister, though?
The wedding took place the next day as Ricky had predicted, and according to the orders he had given that long year ago.
The sister's just sad
and crying, bruh.
Tuftyhead became a Chad? I guess so. Well, that was Ricky Tuftyhead. That was a bit more of a strange one. Oh. This next one, second to the last, is called Beautiful Vasilisa, which is... Hold on. Which is also a Russian folktale.
So the moral of the story is, if you have a tuft, you can make other people smarter.
Imagine if you could. You have the power and the intelligence. So Beautiful Vasilisa.
Once, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a merchant and his wife. They had one daughter who was called Beautiful Vasilisa. When the girl was 8 years old, her mother became very ill. One day, she called her daughter to her side.
Time to head to a barber. No! I don't think you'll just instantly get tuft powers. You need to get your hair done by the fairy in specific.
Author forgot about the sister. Don't worry, she has me instead.
Poor sister. I hope she has a happy ending too.
When the girl was 8 years old, her mother became very ill. One day, she called her daughter to her side. "Listen, my child," she said, "and remember the last words I have to say. I am going to die, my dear. I give you my blessing in this little doll. You must always keep it with you and never show it to anyone else. If you are ever in trouble, just ask the doll for advice." Then the mother embraced her daughter and died. The merchant grieved for a long time after his wife's death, but as time passed, he began to think about marrying again.
He was a real gentleman, and many women admired him. There was one widow of whom he was very fond. She had 2 daughters of about the same age as Vasilisa, and was considered by everyone to be a good mother. And one day, the merchant married the widow, but he had been deceived because she was not a good mother at all to his daughter, who was the most beautiful girl in the village.
I guess this is her and her doll. It's very pretty.
The woman and her daughters were extremely jealous of Vasilisa's beauty. They treated her very badly and made her do the dirtiest housework, hoping that the hard work would make her pale and ugly. However, Vasilisa did all the work without complaining, and every day she became more and more beautiful. Her sisters, although they never lifted a finger to help, became scrawnier and uglier because of their envy.
Man, it's like
Vasilisa and Cinderella shaking hands right now. But how did this happen? It was all thanks to the doll that protected Vasilisa. It comforted her when she was unhappy, gave her good advice, and helped her with the housework. Several years passed by in this way until Vasilisa had reached the age to be able to marry. All the young men of the city asked for her hand in marriage, but no one ever thought about asking the other daughters.
deserved.
Their angry mother always said to the suitors,
I will never consent to a marriage of the youngest daughter before the 2 older ones are married.
Then when she had driven away the suitors, she would turn and slap Vasilisa angrily. Man. One day, the merchant went away on business to another kingdom. At once, the woman moved into a different house near a dense forest. In the middle of this forest was a clearing with a small hut in which lived a witch. If anyone dared to come near the hut, she would eat them, as if they were chickens. The woman constantly sent Vasilisa into the forest on different pretexts, hoping the witch would rid her of the girl, but Vasilisa always returned home safe and sound because the doll showed her the way home and warned her when the old witch was near.
Okay, the doll is the MVP in this one. The most beautiful girl in the village. Campus crush. Yeah, she really was. Village crush.
One evening, the woman ordered all 3 daughters to do some work. One was to make lace, one was to knit stockings, and Vasilisa was to spin. Each of them had a certain amount to do. Are these the sisters? I guess they are. Before going to bed, the woman then put out all the lights in the house, leaving only 1 candle burning for the girls. Then she went to bed. The young girls started their work by this poor light. After a while, the candle began to flicker. One of the sisters took a snuffer and pretended that she was going to trim the wick. Instead, she put the candle out on purpose. What are we going to do? The girls cried. There are no more matches to light the candle, and our work is not finished. Someone will have to go to the old witch in the forest and ask for a light. I have enough light from my needle, so I won't go, said the one who was making lace.
Neither will I, said the one who was knitting. I have enough light from my needles too.
You will have to go find a light, they cried to Vasilisa. Go to the witch. Then they pushed Vasilisa out of her chair and told her to go. The girl went into her room, gave some food to her little doll. Wait, what does the doll eat?
I guess it eats regular food. Regular food instead of batteries.
Dolly dear, eat this food and listen carefully to me. My sisters are sending me to the old witch and she will eat me.
Don't be afraid, replied the doll. Go where they send you, but take me with you and you will have nothing to fear.
Vasilisa put the doll in her pocket and walked bravely into the dense forest. As she was walking, a sudden breeze made her whole body shiver. Then a horseman passed at full gallop in front of her. His face was completely white and he was dressed in all white. To her surprise, it became night. Vasilisa continued walking. Just then, another horseman passed by her. This man's face was red. He was dressed in red and he sat on a red horse. To her surprise, the sun rose.
Whoa, he's so red.
The girl walked on and on until at last she arrived in the clearing where the old witch's little hut stood. It was circled by a fence made of human bones, and on top of the fence sat a row of skulls. On the door she saw a human bone which served as a bolt, and instead of a lock there was a human jawbone. Vasilisa stopped walking, for she was paralyzed with fear. Just then, a third horseman arrived. His face was black and he was dressed in black, riding on a black horse. He rode up to the door of the old witch's hut and disappeared, as suddenly as if he had sunk into the earth. Then it became night, but the darkness did not last for long, because the skull's eyes on the fence started to shine. Vasilisa was still frozen with terror. She did not know what to do and stood there like a statue.
So he's red, I'm guessing. Yeah. Well, there was the white horseman, the red horseman, and then the black horseman, which seemed to bring with them the time of day, I guess.
All at once there was a terrible noise in the forest. All trees shook their branches, and the dry leaves rustled. And then the old witch appeared. When she reached her doorstep, she stopped. Whoa, look at that hair! She stopped, sniffed the air, and cried,
I smell a child. Who is it?
Vasilisa went to the witch, curtsied, and said, It is I, madam. My sisters have sent me here to ask for a light, for I have no matches at home.
Good, said the witch. I know them and I will give you the light. First, however, you must work for me for a while.
Then she turned to the door and cried,
My solid bolts. Lift yourself. My door, open yourself.
The door opened and the witch went inside, while the wind whistled through the house. When she reached her room, the witch sat down at the table and said to Vasilisa,
Serve me everything that is in the oven. I want to have my dinner here.
Vasilisa lit a candle by holding it against one of the shining skulls on the fence. Then she took the food from the oven and served it to the witch. She also went to the cellar to get some ale, beer, and water. It was enough for 10 men.
That's a lot.
The witch ate and drank everything. All she left was a drop of cabbage soup and a small piece of bread.
Whoa. I just realized the door is so fancy looking.
They couldn't get a match from the shop next to the corner? Nope. They had to specifically tell her to get a match from her.
What conditioner does she use for that hair? I don't know if she even conditions. Look at how frizzy and dry it looks. Damn.
Then the witch went to bed saying,
While I am out tomorrow, you will clean the courtyard, sweep the rooms, make lunch, and do the washing.
Bruh, she's not gonna give her the match.
Then you must go to the shed where you will find a pile of wheat and get rid of the beetles. Make sure that everything is done before I come home or I will eat you.
When she had finished speaking, the witch fell asleep and began to snore. Vasilisa gave the rest of the food to her doll, and in tears she said, Dolly dear, eat this food and listen carefully to me. The old witch has told me to do an impossible amount of work, and she will eat me if I have not finished in time.
Oh my gosh! Hi Tanya, long time no see, hope you're doing well. Oh, thank you for subscribing, I really appreciate it. For 3 months! Goodness, happy 3 months. Yeah, I'm trying out book reading.
Well, this is part 2 of me reading this book in particular.
I might do some more book reading streams eventually.
And other variety stuff during Saturday afternoons.
But yeah, hope you're doing well.
The doll replied,
Don't be afraid, beautiful Vasilisa. Have your dinner and go to sleep. Night will bring an answer.
Very early the next morning, Vasilisa got up and looked out of the window. The eyes of the skulls had stopped burning, and the white horseman passed in front of her, and it was light. The old witch left the house and whistled. Her mortar, pestle, and broom appeared at once. Then the red horseman rode by, and the sun came out. The witch sat in her mortar and went off, driving with the pestle, while she swept away her tracks with the broom. Vasilisa took the chance to walk around the house and admired the witch's wealth. She wondered what part of the work she should do first, but when she looked again, she noticed that all the work was already done. And that was not all. The doll had removed the beetles from the wheat.
Oh, my good helper, said Vasilisa. You have saved me. You only have to prepare dinner, and there's plenty of time for that,
answered the doll as she climbed back into Vasilisa's pocket. In the evening, Vasilisa set the table and waited for the witch to return. When it started to get dark, the black horseman appeared in front of the door, and immediately it became completely dark. Only the skull's eyes glittered in the night.
Dogglepod saying peekaboo. Oh yeah. He's helping me hold the book up.
Suddenly, the trees started to shake and the leaves began to rustle. The old witch was coming. Vasilisa went to meet her.
Is everything done?
Asked the witch. Look for yourself, madam, replied the girl. The witch looked around her. She was very annoyed that she could not find any faults.
Oh, there's the witch. Oh, and there's a bunch of crows here too, just staring.
I think she shows up right here in the cover as well.
All right, Vasilisa, she said, this time you have done the work.
And she cried,
My faithful servants, devoted friends, come and grind the wheat.
out of nowhere, 3 pairs of hands appeared, grabbed the wheat, and took it away. I guess it's these guys right here. That's a lot of wheat. Once again, the witch ate to her heart's content. Before she went to sleep, she said to Vasilisa,
Tomorrow you must do the same as you did today. However, you must also take the pile of poppies from the shed and wipe off the dust.
Having said this, she turned over to face the wall and started to snore. As she had done the night before, Vasilisa asked her doll for advice. The doll answered,
Don't worry, go to sleep. The night will bring an answer. Tomorrow you will see that everything has been done.
The next day, when the witch had left, Vasilisa and her doll once more shared the tasks. Shared? Well, I guess she did part of it with the cooking of the dinner. When the witch came back that night, she was again annoyed to find no faults when she examined everything. Then she cried,
My faithful servants, devoted friends, press the oil out of the poppies.
Out of the air, 3 pairs of hands arrived at her command, gathered the poppies, and took them away. Then the witch ate her dinner while Vasilisa stood in front of her in silence.
Why don't you say anything?
asked the witch.
Have you lost your tongue?
How long has she been gone?
Sensing she's gonna eat Vasilisa,
I think she is trying to find an excuse to do so. I wonder if she will,
try it at some point.
If you allow me, I would like to ask you something, said Vasilisa.
Ask if you like, but you should know that not every question leads to something good, cackled the witch. Remember, if you know a lot, you'll soon become old.
I don't think that's how it works. I would like to ask you 3 questions, said Vasilisa. On the way to your hut, I was passed by a horseman with a white face, wearing white clothes and riding a white horse. Who is this man?
He is my daylight,
replied the witch. And I saw another horseman who had a red face, continued the girl. He was dressed in red and riding a red horse. Who is he?
He is my beautiful son,
answered the witch. And the black horseman I saw near the door, finished the girl.
He is my dark knight.
Batman? said the witch. Vasilisa remembered the 3 pairs of hands, but did not ask anything more.
Excuse me. No more questions? Asked the witch.
I know enough for now, replied the girl. You said yourself that a lot of knowledge makes you grow old too soon.
That is true, said the witch. I don't like revealing my secrets to the world, but now I will ask you a question. How did you manage to finish all the work I gave you?
My mother's blessing has helped me, answered Vasilisa truthfully.
So that is the reason, cried the witch. Then you must leave this house at once. Blessed girl! I don't like blessed girls.
Man. I can imagine the sisters celebrating that she didn't come back just for her to come back after a month like, I've got the match, yeah. I wonder if she's gonna get it or not. She grabbed Vasilisa's wrist and dragged her out of the room, then pushed her outside. She then took one of the skulls with shining eyes, from the fence, put it on a stick, and gave it to Vasilisa.
Take this, it's the light for your sisters, she said.
Oh, she remembered.
Take it home.
At once, Vasilisa started to run, and the light from the skull guided her.
There she goes.
After a long journey, she reached home again. When she went into the house, the skull said,
Don't throw me away. Take me to the woman.
For the first time ever, Vasilisa was welcome in the house. Since she had left, the woman and her daughters had been living in the dark. They had not been able to light a match, and any light they took from their neighbors went out as soon as they entered the room.
Were they cursed?
Perhaps your light will not go out, they cried, grasping the stick from her. They carried the skull into the room, and its burning eyes stared at the 3 women. It didn't matter where they tried to hide, it seemed that they were followed everywhere by its haunting look. By the morning, they had all been burnt to ashes! Only Vasilisa survived. That escalated quickly. What the... The next day, Vasilisa buried the skull, locked the house, and went to town to find work. Yes, just normal things. A totally normal turn of events after your stepfamily burned alive. An old lady asked for her companionship, and so she stayed there waiting for her father to arrive. One day, she said to the old lady, I'm very bored staying in the house all day with nothing to do. Please, Please buy me some flax and I will pass the time spinning. The old lady bought her some flax and Vasilisa began to spin. She worked so well that the thread came out as smooth and fine as her hair. What is... yeah, very normal. What in the world? My family just died. I'm bored. They were so lazy, not only couldn't do housework and give it to her, but also couldn't just go to the shop close by to get a match after sending their sister to get eaten. The thing was, I think they tried to get light themselves, but it said that every time they brought it into the house, it would go out instantly. So I guess they were cursed somehow. Karma. I don't know. When she had spun a large pile of thread, Vasilisa wanted to start weaving it. The doll then gave Vasilisa a magnificent loom, suitable for weaving such fine thread. By the end of winter, the cloth was finished, and it was so fine that it could be threaded through the eye of a needle. In the spring, she bleached the linen and said to the old lady, "Please, sell this piece of cloth and keep for yourself whatever money it fetches." "But my child," gasped the lady, "only the king is worth such a cloth. I will take it to the palace."
What does he want, dear woman?
Wow, she got there so fast, asked the king when he saw her there. "Your Highness," she answered, "forgive me, but I have brought something wonderful to show you." When the king saw the cloth, he was also amazed.
What do you want for it?
He asked.
"Your Highness, this cloth is priceless," replied the lady. "I brought it as a gift."
The king thanked her and showered her with rich gifts in return.
I would like shirts made from this cloth, declared the king. But who can sew such finery?
The king searched the land for such a needle worker, but all in vain. Then he sent for the old lady again.
If you have been able to spin and weave this cloth, you should also be able to sew it, he said.
"This cloth was not my work," she replied. "It was a young girl who made it."
Well then, let her sew the shirt,
ordered the king, and so the old lady went home and told the whole story to Vasilisa. At once, she locked herself in her room and began to work night and day. Soon a dozen shirts were finished, and the good lady took them to the king. It wasn't long before Vasilisa saw the king's servant standing at the door saying, "His Majesty wants to see with his own eyes the girl who made his shirts. He wants to reward her in person." Vasilisa set off for the palace and presented herself to the king, who, as soon as he saw her, fell head over heels in love with her. He took beautiful Vasilisa's white hands and sat her next to him on the throne. That very day they were engaged to be married. Things happened so fast. Soon afterwards, her father came back from his long journey. He was delighted with his daughter's fate and made his home with her. Vasilisa also welcomed the old lady, who was given her shelter into the palace, and, of course, the dear doll stayed by her side forever after. The end. Maybe it meant that the sister was the light of the house. I guess so, yeah. They're speed running happy ending, question mark? Author just straight up doing massacre without telling their backgrounds. And, like, what happened? Because, like, does her dad, like... I mean, he married the lady. It didn't really talk about how he felt about everything. Oh no. But yeah, that was beautiful, Vasilisa. I guess she ended up married to the king after making him some nice shirts. So yeah, we're down. Yeah, it went from 0 to 100 multiple times. It was a very entertaining, dramatic read. This one is the last story in our book. We're here. It's The 7 League Boots by Christian Perrault. There was once a woodcutter and his wife, who had 7 children, all boys. The eldest was only 10, and the youngest only 7. Everyone was very surprised that they had so many children in such a short time, but it was because the wife had always born twins, except for the firstborn. Yeah, fairy tale speedruns. I guess they do tend to escalate quite quickly. Oh yes, the best way to win a man's heart, make him fashion. The finest fashion. The couple was very poor, and their 7 children were a great burden to them because none of them could yet earn his living. Damn. So frank. So blunt. Poor children. The youngest was extremely delicate and rarely said a word, which made them very unhappy. They thought he was stupid. Oh, bro. But in fact, he was really very clever. He was very small, and when he came into the world, he was no bigger than a thumb. Thumb again? Which was the reason why he was called Thumbkin? Another thumb guy? Oh my gosh. Is Tom Thumb and Thumbkin shaking hands this time? But the difference is, Thumbkin's parents don't seem to like him. Oh, thank you for lurking, Martin. Have a nice breakfast. 7 male children in 3 years. Are they building a football team? She apparently... I don't know. How many more kids would they need? It seemed to the family that everything in this poor child did or said was wrong. Oh no. However, he was the finest and most sensible of his brothers, and even though he talked very little, he listened a great deal. Then came a very difficult year when the land was hit by famine, and these poor people had to make the decision to get rid of their children. One evening, when the children were in bed, the woodcutter and his wife sat in front of the fire talking. He said to her, his heart broken with grief,
I cannot stand seeing our children starve in front of my eyes, so I have decided to lose them in the woods tomorrow. We will set them to gathering wood, and we will slip away without them seeing.
Ah, cried his wife, could you really be so cruel as to lose your children? Her husband explained again how poor they were, but she could not consent to the plan. So they're talking about it right now, and they don't notice that Thumbkin is down here listening. Oh no. However, after considering what a great grief it would be to see them starve in front of her eyes, she finally agreed and went to bed in tears. Thumbkin had been listening to everything they said. He had got up quietly and slid under the staircase to be able to hear them without being seen. He was not under the staircase here, though. But I guess it's a lot easier to see him in the illustration if they put him there. I don't know, that looked like a good hiding spot. Yeah, they would never expect him to be right there, huh? Perhaps it's mind games. He went back to bed but could not sleep for the rest of the night, for he was thinking about what he had to do. The next morning he got up very early and went to the bank of a stream, where he filled his pockets with little white stones. Then he returned home. When the family all left the house later, Thumbkin kept his secret to himself. Soon they were in a thick forest where it was impossible to see each other at a distance of 10 steps. The woodcutter started to work felling trees, while the children collected twigs and made bundles out of them. When their parents saw them working hard, they gradually moved away and then suddenly took off along a little footpath which returned home by a different route. When the children realized they were alone, they started to call for their parents, and some began to cry. Thumbkin told them not to cry, for he knew very well how to get back to the house. As they had walked along, he had marked the path by dropping little white stones from his pockets. Oh, that was such a Hansel and Gretel move.
Don't be afraid, my brothers, he said. Our father and mother have just left us behind, but I will take you back home. Just follow me.
They followed him, and he led them back to their home along the same path by which they went to the forest that morning. At first they were afraid to enter the house, and they put their ears to the door to hear what their father and mother were saying. Now, when the woodcutter and his wife had returned home, they found that the lord of the town had sent them 10 gold pieces. He had owed them money for a long time, but they thought they would never get it back. This had given them new hope, for the poor couple were indeed starving. The woodcutter immediately sent his wife to the butcher's. Since she had not eaten for a long time, she bought 3 times as much meat than was needed to make supper for 2. When they had eaten their fill, she said, "Oh dear, where are our poor children now? They would have eaten a good meal tonight. I told you we would regret losing them. What were they doing now? What are they doing now in that forest? Oh my goodness, perhaps the wolves have eaten them already. You are so cruel to have abandoned your children like that." The woodcutter lost his patience as she went on, for he was really just as upset as his wife. However, he never liked a person to say, "I told you so," quite as often as she did. His wife was in tears now and crying. "Alas, where are my children now, my poor children?" She cried out so loudly that the children at the door heard her and started to shout all together, "We're here! We're here!" She rushed to open the door and welcomed them with open arms. "I'm so happy to see you, my dear children," she cried. "You must be very tired and hungry, and look how dirty you are. Peter, come here so I can wash your face." Peter was their eldest son, whom she loved the most because he was red-haired and took after his mother. Then they sat down at the table and ate with a healthy appetite which pleased their father and mother. While they ate, they told their parents how frightened they had been in the forest, all talking at once most of the time. The woodcutter and his wife were delighted to have their children home again, but alas, their happiness lasted only as long as 10 golden pieces did. Oh no. When all the money was spent, they found themselves in the same desperate situation as before. Bro, they need better financial management.
Oh well.
They decided that they had no choice but to abandon their children again. This time they planned to take them even further into the forest than the first time. Although the parents talked very quietly, Thumbkin again heard their plan. He thought that he would have no problem doing the same thing that he had done before, but when he got up early morning to collect the stones, he found the door of the house locked.
He can't unlock it?
Or maybe it was like a lock that only his father or his parents had the key. At first, Thumbkin didn't know what to do. However, their mother had given them each a piece of bread for breakfast. Oh, this is very Hansel and Gretel. So he thought that he would be able to use this bread instead of stones. He would crumble the bread and drop the crumbs along the path, so he hid it in his pocket. Once again, the family set off. Their parents took the 7 boys to the thickest and darkest part of the forest, and soon after they arrived, made an excuse to leave them behind. Thumbkin was not too worried because he thought he would find the way back easily thanks to the bread he had scattered behind. But when he looked, he could not find a single crumb.
The birds have eaten everyone.
Oh my gosh, there's a little rabbit here, just watching.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and owls too appear.
This time, the children were in a sorry state. The more they walked, the more they got lost, and the deeper they went into the forest. Darkness came and a strong wind started to blow, which frightened them terribly. They thought they had heard wolves howling and feared they would be attacked and eaten. They hardly dared to talk or move. Then it began to rain heavily, and they were all soaked to the skin. They slipped at every step and fell into puddles, from which they scrambled up completely covered in mud.
Well, they did spend on money on meat, which wasn't cheap at any time.
Yeah,
They really should have been smarter about it. But I guess it is what it is.
Thumbkin climbed a tree to see if he could discover something that could help them. Turning his head to look in all directions, he suddenly saw a tiny glimmer of light, like that of a candle, but it seemed to be far away beyond the forest. He slid down the tree, but when he reached the ground, he could no longer see anything at all. Nevertheless, after walking for quite a while, with his brothers in the right direction, he suddenly saw the light again, and they came to the edge of the forest. Finally, they arrived at the house with the candlelight. They knocked at the door and a woman opened it. Thumbkin told her that they were poor children who had got lost in the forest, and he asked her if they could spend the night there for nothing as they had no money. Seeing how sad and handsome they all were, oh my goodness, this woman started to cry, saying, "Alas, my poor children, where have you come to? Do you not know that this is the house of an ogre who eats little children?"
"Oh, madam, what should we do?" gasped Thumbkin, who was trembling with fear as well as his brothers. "The wolves in the forest will eat us tonight if you do not give us shelter. And if we are to be eaten, we would rather it was by the master of this house than the wolves. Maybe he would feel sorry for us if you were willing to plead on our behalf." The ogre's wife thought she might be able to hide them from her husband until next morning, so she let them inside and took them to the fireplace to warm themselves. Is it Shrek and Fiona?
Just kidding. It was very hot, and there was a whole sheep roasting on the spit for the ogre's supper. Just when they began to feel warm, they heard 3 or 4 loud knocks at the door. The ogre had returned. The woman quickly hid the children under the bed and went to open the door. The first thing the ogre asked was if the supper was ready and if a bottle of wine had been opened, and immediately he sat down at the table. Suddenly, he started sniffing to the left and the right and said that he smelled living flesh. Uh-oh. It must be the veal which I was preparing for you that you can smell," said his wife.
I tell you I smell living flesh,
exclaimed the ogre and gave his wife a suspicious look.
There's something going on here, I think.
Having said this, he stood up from the table and went straight to bed. Then he realized what his sensitive nose had smelled.
Oh, this is how you try to deceive me, you wretched woman, he shouted. I don't see why I shouldn't eat you as well, you old stupid woman. These rabbits will come in handy to entertain my ogre friends who are going to visit me.
One by one, he dragged the boys out from under the bed. The poor children fell on their knees and begged him for mercy, but they were in the hands of the cruelest ogre there ever was, who was already eating them in his imagination. Oh no. They should have hidden under the chair. It worked the first time, yeah. He told his wife that the boy... Well, only Thumbkin hid there. His bros don't know the strats. He told his wife that the boys would make a tasty stew and cooked in a nice sauce. He picked up a huge knife and sharpened it on a long stone. Then he approached the frightened children. He had just grabbed one of them when his wife said, "Why do you want to do it at this hour? You've had a good supper. Why don't you do it for tomorrow morning?"
Be quiet, exclaimed the ogre. They will be more succulent now.
Uh-oh. There he is with his grabby hand. Oh, full-page spread. Gosh, the children look so small. Yeah, poor children. Bruh, and he has his knife and fork strapped onto him.
But you still have so much meat here, said his wife. Look, a calf, 2 sheep, and half a pig.
You are right, agreed the ogre. Give them a good meal so that they do not get thin, and put them to bed.
The kind woman was delighted and cooked the children a nice supper, but they were so terrified they could not eat a mouthful. As for the ogre, he was so delighted to have such a delicacy to offer his friends that he drank 12 bottles of wine, which made him dizzy, and he had to go to bed. Now, the ogre had 7 young daughters. The little ogresses were all very robust and had ruddy complexions because they ate fresh meat like their father, but they had little round grey eyes, hooked noses, and huge mouths with long teeth, very sharp and very widely spaced. They were not yet as cruel as their father, but they were beginning to follow in his footsteps, for they already liked to bite little children. Oh, that's not good. They were sent to bed early, and all 7 of them slept in a large bed, each wearing a gold crown on her head. In the same room there was another bed of the same size. The ogre's wife put the 7 little boys in this bed, after which she went to bed herself beside her husband. Oh, Thumbkin was afraid that the ogre might regret not having cut their throats that evening and would wake up to do so before morning. He got up when he heard the ogre snoring and took off his brothers' caps. Then he crept over to the ogre's 7 daughters, took off their crowns and put the caps on their heads. He then returned to bed and put the crowns on his brothers' heads and his own. Uh-oh. It was just as Thumbkin feared. The ogre woke up at midnight and regretted not butchering the lads the evening before, so he jumped out of bed and took up his huge knife.
Let us see how our little fools are doing,
he said to himself. Without lighting a candle, he groped his way upstairs in the dark to his daughter's room and approached the bed in which the little boys were sleeping. They were all fast asleep except for Thumbkin, who was very frightened when he felt the ogre's hand over his head. The ogre felt all the golden crowns.
Dear me, he said, this will never do. This is my daughter's bed.
Oh no, his eyesight is bad. Then he went to the other bed and felt the boys' little caps.
Ah, there they are, he said. Our lively lads. Let's do the job properly now. Oh no.
Having said this, he cut the throats of his 7 daughters, thinking it was the boys. Then, happy at a job well done, he went back to bed. As soon as Thumbkin heard the ogre snoring again, he woke up his brothers. He told them to get dressed immediately and follow him. The boys crept quietly out of the house and climbed over the garden wall. They ran through the night, stumbling from fear and not knowing which way to go. When the ogre woke up the next morning, he said to his wife,
Go upstairs and dress those little fools who came here yesterday.
His wife was very surprised at her husband's kindness, not suspecting for a minute that the way he meant her to dress them was as meat. But when she went upstairs, a terrible sight was awaiting her. She was horrified when she saw her 7 daughters with their throats cut, and fainted at once, even though she was an ogress. I feel like maybe she regrets helping the kids out if this happened. The ogre wondered why his wife was taking such a long time doing the job he had ordered her to do. He too went upstairs and was no less aghast than his wife when he saw the dreadful sight, although he did not faint.
Oh, what have I done? He cried. Those 7 rascals will pay for this, and right now.
First he revived his wife, then he shouted,
Quickly, give me my 7-league boots so I can catch up with those scoundrels.
Welcome back, Martin. Oh, hurt knees. Oh no, what happened? Please take care, though. If you're injured, please take care of the wound. Is it cats? Oh gosh.
Donning his magic boots that would travel 7 leagues in one stride, he searched throughout the land for the boys. After he had run a great distance in all directions, he finally came to a path where they were walking, no more than 100 steps from their father's house. To their horror, they saw the ogre stepping from mountaintop to mountaintop, crossing rivers as easily as if they were small streams. Thumbkin hid his brothers in a hollow rock nearby and then hid himself, peeping out to watch the ogre. The ogre had become very wary from all his travels, despite the 7-league boots, which are incredibly tiring to wear. He wanted to rest, and by chance he sat down on the rock in which the boys were hiding. Bro, they were right there already! After sitting there for a while, he started to snore so frightfully that the poor children were just as scared as ever. Thumbkin told his brothers to run home as fast as they could, while the ogre was sound asleep. They did as he said and arrived home almost immediately. Wait, that was way too easy. How did they find their home so fast? When they got so lost the other time. League or legged? It's league. 7 league. League. My slippers actually, they're unfortunately quite slippery.
Oh yes, slippers do be slippery. But yes, please take care.
Then Thumbkin crept up to the ogre, carefully removed the 7-league boots, and stepped into himself. The boots were very long and wide, but as they were magic, they were able to grow larger or smaller to fit the person who is wearing them. Oh my.
I told you hiding behind where they're seated is the strat. They didn't get noticed this time. Yeah, you're right. They were just right there and he didn't notice.
So when Thumbkin had them on, they fitted his legs and feet perfectly, as if they had been made for him. The little lad went straight back to the ogre's house, where he found his wife weeping over her 7 dead daughters. "Your husband is in great danger," said Thumbkin. "He has been captured by a gang of robbers who are threatening to kill him if he doesn't hand over all his gold and money. At the very moment they were holding the knife against his throat, he saw me and begged me to warn you of his plight. He said to tell you to give me his whole fortune without fail, otherwise they will kill him. Look, I have his 7-league boots, which proves all I say."
Oh no, he's tricking the kind ogre wife. Uh-oh.
Without hesitating for a second, the woman gave Thumbkin everything. Apart from his habit of eating little children, she loved the ogre, who was a very good husband to her. Well,
another speedrun from the author leaving massacres. Yeah. I think I know author's violent personality. I think in general, older fairy tales and things like that were a bit more like this than the Disney-fied versions.
Loaded with all the ogre's treasure, Thumbkin returned to his father's house, where he was welcomed with great joy, and the family never went hungry again. And what happened to the ogre and his wife? Well, Thumbkin never saw either of them again, which is probably just as well.
The end. I guess we reached the end of the book. Well, that was 7-league boots. Man, I kind of feel bad for the ogre family now. Not gonna lie. I mean, at least I felt bad for the wife. She ended up getting scammed by the same kid. But yeah. Well, I guess it was a happily ever after where they managed to get home. Clap, clap, thank you. Yeah, that was Treasury of Fairy Tales. There was quite a few we went through. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I guess that does it for part 2, or the last part of me reading this book. I'll probably think of what to do next time. Although next week I might not stream in the afternoon, because I will have a collab that night with Cass. We're gonna play Back for Blood. We both never played it, so that's gonna be fun. But yeah, give me a second. Yeah, I feel bad for the 7 daughters as well. Thank you for the stream. I like the way you read, even though I had a hard time understanding English. You have a beautiful and pleasant voice. It was very pleasant to listen to you. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm glad I could make it enjoyable for you, even despite the language barrier. I feel bad on how I don't get the answers from so many massacres. Well, it is what it is. Thank you for another cozy morning stream. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed. I might maybe do another book reading stream someday. But again, I also want to continue or finish Tiny Bookshop as well, and maybe do some paint by numbers as a say crafts type stream. And maybe I'll read another thing someday, like maybe a Little Prince. A story for kids for sure. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, when Omega earlier was like what was it? Kindergarten, what was it? was like, this is like a kindergarten reading circle. Oh, nah. I wouldn't really say so. But yeah, I believe reading these kinds of things are not just for kids or kindergarten. I think it's still a fun time. And I hope you guys had a fun time with me as I revisited this fairy tale compilation. So yeah, that was Treasury of Fairy Tales by Annie-Claude Martin. And yeah, I guess that does it for today's stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate the support though. And big thanks to Tom for the bits and Dr. 86 as well for the bits, and also for the raid earlier from intoxication. I really appreciate it.
Which story was your favorite?
I think out of all of them, my favorite was All's Well That Ends Well, because I kind of enjoyed the way the guy kept it was like a fun little bartering, exchanging story where it kind of had a nice message as well. But yeah, thank you for the fairy tale stream. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, please stay tuned for more variety things. But again, as I mentioned, next week I might not do an afternoon stream because I will be streaming that night, and it'll be with Cass. We're gonna play. My favorite was the OG brother wolf. Which one? Because there was a lot of wolves, but the one in Firebird was definitely the MVP. The one from Snow White and Rose Red was a bear, though. Never mind. But yeah, there were wolves in the other ones too. Ah yes, kindergarten stories where every story one family dies brutally, or horrifying things happen. But yeah, some fairy tales were really meant to scare children into staying at home and not wandering off. But yeah, thanks for streaming. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Thanks for streaming. Finally got time to catch a lot of it live, and I'm glad. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for hanging out. I had a lot of fun revisiting these. And it was also fun getting to show you guys all the illustrations, especially like these full page spreads and everything. It's so nice. That's why I was thinking if ever I do end up rereading Little Prince, I might do Handcam again because that book does have some illustrations as well. But yeah, yes, doggo pouch. My little MVP for helping me hold this open. Have a nice remainder of your day. Thank you. You guys, please take care as well. Tomorrow morning for me, I'll be continuing Final Fantasy VI collab with Aki. So if you guys are excited for that, please stay tuned. Basically, that's the last stream I've had planned in advance, and then I'll probably have the schedule for the next coming week up sometime afterward, maybe Sunday afternoon or evening for me, so please stay tuned. And yeah, hope you guys had fun. Oh, let me take you guys to I just want to show you guys the full background, I guess. Wait. So there's a little camera as well. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys have a good day, night, morning, evening, afternoon. Hope you had a good time. And yeah, hope to see you guys again next time. Bye bye. Thanks so much for tuning in. And please take care, stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. Bye bye. Oh, bye bye. Oh yeah, and thank you to Cricktan for the sub as well. Gosh, thank you.